Hello everyone, welcome to two and a half crows, a podcast of random names where we talk about anything and maybe everything, including our sword, and perhaps up the miscellaneous topics that we may find interesting. As usual, if you have any questions that you'd like us to answer in the chat, please pop it in. We'll see if we can get around to it. Alternatively, if you would like to ask questions regarding the podcast, you can go to Meteor Falcon's Discord and you can put questions there and we will attempt to get to them. Yes, thank you to everyone who has come. We hope you enjoy.
Yes.
There we go.
That was a pretty good intro. I was not
we-
expecting that. That was pretty good. That was good.
No.
I mean, the thing is, like, you've given the intro many times with almost exactly this, with almost like the exact same wording every time.
True.
So therefore, I'm just like, okay, so this is how you phrase a sentence.
Okay.
We need a dedicated like 2.5 Crows intro soundtrack now.
Yeah, script.
It's a scripted podcast. Imagine.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so real quick, we were a little tangenting even to start. So, we started this podcast by being like, "Oh man, who's really Sky?" And then like one of the things someone said in chat was like, the real test is to have you both laugh. But I feel like both of your guys' laughs are very distinct.
Yeah, I think so too.
Cause like,
go
ahead.
No, I was like also because we have different mic qualities, you know. Like I feel like it's easy to tell.
Yeah, I agree.
Cause like, at least for me, right? Like Sky's laugh is more like airy, if that makes sense. And then, Crow's laugh is more like loud, essentially. It's
very
more loud
distinct
and
ha
intense. Yeah. Well,
there we go.
like Crow is like laughing out, while like Sky is like kind of laughing like, I don't know, but if in is the right word?
No, I get it.
Yeah. You get what I'm saying though? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't remember what Sky's laugh sounds like. I'm trying to play it in my head, but like, nothing's coming to my brain.
I can hear it because I recently
I can't remember
been
myself.
editing the Gartic phone stuff, and she was laughing a lot there. So I have it in my head. Yeah. I can't recreate it because I'm not.
I was?
Yeah.
Damn, I was trying to be quiet.
I mean, you can't help yourself with some of those things.
No, I mean, like, because it's 5 a.m. my time.
Oh, fair.
And my sister is sleeping in the next room, so.
Dude, I was gonna say something, I forgot. Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like my laugh is just way too loud, and I'm trying to like tone it down, like to sound more like Sky. Because otherwise, I feel like I just kill everyone's mic when I laugh.
I feel like, but the weakness with laughing in is that you find that you sound like you're gasping sometimes, and then people have to determine whether you are laughing or drowning.
Yeah, crying. Yeah, exactly. That's me actually. You know that especially happened when I was pulling for Ayaka again. No, I wasn't pulling for Ayaka. Someone just said do temple for the YouTube content, and then I actually got Ayaka, and I was laughing and crying at the same time.
Congrats on the Ayaka, but
yeah, I didn't want her. It was sad.
Building up pity. I've seen people talk about that on like Reddits and things like that for Genshin. Is like, oh, I'm just building pity, and I'm just like, it's not so stupid. What if you accidentally pull the character?
No, they're just fueling their gambling addiction. That's not building pity.
Okay, fair. Yeah, that's probably what they're doing. Let's be honest.
Dude, okay. In my defense, I was at 10 pity.
Yeah. You should not have gotten her. That was very.
I was like, there's absolutely no way I'm going to get a 5-star, right? And somebody commented, I'll just do a temple for the YouTube content. I'm like, sure. Do a temple. The star turns gold. I'm like, oh no.
Oh no.
Because it was my 100% pity as well, and I knew it was Ayako, and I was like, oh my god. But the good thing is I ended up building her. She actually carried me through the recent abyss, like my second team, and so I don't have that many regrets now. So.
Yeah, you can actually have a DPS on the other team.
Yeah, it's so nice. It's such a game changer.
Having Pride DPS, I think especially, like, it really depends on the stage, I feel, but having DPS of every element is pretty good.
Yeah, because now you have a water and ice DPS.
Yeah, Yeah.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, true.
Mhm.
Because I know for me, like whenever I have like, because I have nothing that counts as a hydro, because my 2 DPS is basically child and Dilok.
Oh,
So every
okay.
single time I go into Abyss and they're like, oh, he's a hydro Abyss mage, and I'm like,
Oh
like
no.
especially when there's hydro Abyss mages on both sides, and I'm like,
Right.
I guess I'll die.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh wait, what does the most damage to Hydro shields? I thought it
I
was
think it's
supposed
Electro.
to
I think it's
Electro,
Electro.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, Electro or Cryo, I can't remember.
Yeah, it's either
Okay.
Actually,
Electro or
probably not
Cryo.
Cryo, because Cryo freezes, but
be.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah,
with,
I'm not.
like with
Yeah.
like with Cryo shields, it's okay because I can just be child and I don't know Amber, and then I use Amber ult to like melt them.
Mhm.
Amber
Yeah,
ult
yeah.
is very surprisingly useful in that aspect. I'm like debating
Yeah.
on raising it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And
I think
Amber with
a lot
maxed out energy recharge just to destroy shields.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. People actually do use Amber for the utility support. Her like so they spam her ult for the shield break damage
Yeah.
kind of thing.
It is a lot of
Yeah.
hits. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens
I
so
think
close.
Yeah.
Yeah, because each arrow has like independent like the reaction. How do I say it? Like you know how on some things like having a reaction is like has like an internal cooldown. So say for example if
Yeah.
you whereas with Amber ult like every individual arrow has its own thing. So
Mhm.
no,
Mhm.
2 times EXP spawned early just today.
Yeah.
Oh, I
she
forgot
does
about
this
it.
today.
Okay.
I'm gonna miss out on it because I'm not actually at home this weekend. I'm at my dad's place, so I can't participate this weekend, as always.
Oh, I
Understandable.
can't. Or it's more like I'm trying to stop myself from doing so because I have an exam in a week.
Mm.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I have not done like 2/3 of my course,
Ah.
so I have to like speed run like I don't know
Dude.
6 weeks worth of content. in
Sky,
one
that's
week.
such a big mood. Holy shit, that's such a fat mood.
So there's nothing
I
for tomorrow?
literally-
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I literally did that last semester, and I can't believe I actually passed all my courses last semester.
Yeah, like sometimes you kind of like sometimes you're like, oh, I'll just like do like okay this. But I don't know, like do you ever get that feeling that when you like do something like that and you're like, don't really deserve to pass? Like
Yes. I definitely felt
Yeah,
that way.
everything.
But I'm just like,
yeah, like you come out of it, your test, and then you get a 50, which says that you pass, but in reality, you're probably gonna forget absolutely everything.
exactly.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
eventually-
If it's
Yeah.
like a 50 or yeah, I would feel guilty for a 50. But like if it's like a C, I'm just like, hey bro, it's a C. I'm good. I'm like
Yeah, but you know what they say. You know how like passes still get careers. and
yes,
stuff, so I'm just, you know what?
C's get degrees.
Yeah, C's get degrees. Yeah, I'm just like, you know what? I'll take it. Screw it. I don't
I
care.
think
about
it
this.
depends. Oh,
Mm.
thank you for.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Cutie, for saying for the
Encouragement.
good luck. Encouragement.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
there we go. Um,
Yeah, it does
I think
depend.
I think it depends. Yeah, it depends on what degree. I think. Yeah, it depends on what you want to go into. Because, for example,
Yeah.
like for research, like this is not going to fly. Like I mean, like to get into research, you already need like honors.
Yeah.
So, but then
Yeah,
it's
it
like,
depends, and also I think it depends on the company as well. For example, if it's a highly competitive kind of field, then yeah, your grades is gonna matter. But if it's like not really that competitive, then it's fine.
Even then, I
Yeah.
feel like what is it? The social connections are still more important.
Yeah,
100%,
for
yeah.
sure. Yeah, I was reading a Reddit actually blog, and they were saying how like, was it an Australian one? They were just saying, oh yeah, the thing about like your grades determining your career is actually not that true. Like
Mhm.
most of it relies on connections, and most of it's
Yeah.
only if it's like very
practical
specific
experience, I think.
businesses. Yeah, there's like very specific businesses where they actually look at how well you do, like whether you get distinctions and stuff. But that's obviously like the highly competitive ones, and then like there's very few of them apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Networking. Gotta
yeah,
Yeah.
networking is important. I
Link-
think also-
LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn. I think regarding that though, I remember because like you know, like this, like my parents usually bring like either like fresh graduates or like people still in there that's still
Mhm.
studying as interns.
Mhm.
And then they say that like they give them like you know the resume and they see all like their grades and stuff and
Mhm.
like a good fair amount of them have like pretty stellar grades. And then they say that they come into the office and they're like they are completely clueless. They have
Mhm.
Yeah,
to like train. They still have to train them, yeah. So I guess like it's kind of like there's one thing to know, but there's another to apply it. Like I can still do but I can still do a good chunk of my parents' work like, just because I know what buttons to click. Like I don't know, I don't really know.
Yeah,
what
you
the
got that
numbers mean, but
got that experience.
yeah, and I guess that's why they find me to be a valuable asset. But
Yeah, like theory is one thing, but being able to apply the theory is also important, kind of thing.
I mean,
Yeah.
and that's just
And, like-
something you just learn by just doing it. You can't really be taught.
yeah,
that
unless it's like research, because if it's research, then like yep. But
Yeah, research is just
yeah, research is just holy grail of science. Every single person who goes in, well, not every single person, but like people who go into science, like, oh wow, we go to research, and like no, it's you get paid peanuts, and it's hard.
Yeah, no, I have so much
Like,
respect for them because like sometimes they really are making like life-changing like discoveries. But
Yeah,
you know, it's just like
I heard.
we might figure something out. We also might not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's yeah, I think information nowadays is like they're constantly changing. So I think
yeah.
especially for like things like doctors and stuff, they're constantly reading up on new research. They have to constantly update themselves on any new things and stuff. And I was just like, so if you like do something like a doctor or something, you're constantly studying in a way because it's constantly
Yeah.
research.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
oh yeah, true.
Okay, so one big thing I want to obviously talk about. We got a big update this week, and one of those updates, I think the first thing to talk about is Genesis. So my first question is, have you guys played Genesis, and what do you think about him?
Oh,
I know. There's nothing about him, so I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Wait, Sky, do you plan on playing Genesis, or do you plan on making a Genesis Elsword?
Probably not.
I mean, that's
fair
like, it is hyper damage, so who
Yeah,
cares?
it's not that, yeah. Unless his like synergy has some like game-changing stuff to it. Yeah. I only made a Genesis because I wanted to try out the new level progression as an Elsword.
Well, wait, we'll talk about that in a bit. Let's stick to Genesis for a little
Okay.
bit. What do you think
Okay.
about like actually playing Genesis?
It's hard to say because I've only hit level. I haven't hit level cap yet. I've only gotten second job. I'm up to Sander, so
Okay.
I haven't like
Any like favorite skills or anything that you like?
that clearing skill. That one with the sword shooting forward.
Oh, Divine Lift. Yeah, Divine Lift.
Yeah, Divine Lift. Yeah, that one for obvious reason because
Yeah,
clearing
The
character with
aim
clearing
skill,
is
yeah.
yeah,
Straight up
yeah,
an aim
yeah.
skill.
Yeah, actually, I was gonna say the same. But I feel like any character with a good clear skill is just like they're
Really nice,
they're like really fun or automatically.
Yeah, you begin to appreciate you begin to appreciate things that you don't have.
Exactly.
The funny thing too with that skill is the one bad thing about Divine Lift is that it doesn't curve, right? It only goes forward. His last skill, the level 95 Transcendence, is another clearing skill that actually does curve, so it helps him out a little bit.
Ooh, okay, I'm looking forward to that one then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really cool school. Go ahead.
All I know is with the Divine Lift, it has a little bit of a 3D hitbox, so like it does
Little
hit
bit, yeah.
but it's not good enough. I did.
On a video, I was gonna try and key snipe you, but
Oh, I mean, you could ask. I mean, you could just join up. I'm not going with the party at all.
but you'd already done some runs, and so I'm like, oh, I don't want to make you go through the extra trouble of doing them all for me, so I'll just.
No, I can wait. It's fine.
Dude, it's grinding, so there's probably a lot of people queuing at this time.
I'm just going mindless, clicking buttons.
Not just
Brain off, monkey on.
Yeah. What is it? What do you think? Yeah, what carry you asked was I was about to ask you. What do you think about his air dash? Did you ever try to use it?
Okay, so because I was trying to get through the story as fast as possible, I didn't even take time to check his combos. I did try it that one time where he does the air dash. It's very interesting. Like it feels like the double jump synergy in a way. Yeah, it's very interesting. Like gameplay concept wise, how it's relevant to Elsword. I'm not sure how like Elsword is able to do that, but I'm not gonna question it.
Yeah,
it's interesting. I feel like they're just trying to give all the characters that don't have good mobility.
Oh yeah, no,
combos
it's kind of insane. I mean, I think like there's probably gonna be a bunch of people that just kind of Like finding a Genesis in 1v1 might be super annoying. Cause like if it gets the timer, he can just stall you. Cause he can air dash twice and just. Cause I don't think it costs mana, so I think he could just stay up there.
Oh my god! Wait, so he can just fly like?
Yeah, cause so you can go up twice, but you can keep going forward infinitely if you can mash it.
Oh, what the? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so that's kind of like Raven's
Yeah, it's like it's like Nova's thing, kind of. Yeah.
Well, that's. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't mind it too much. I guess it's nice that other characters are getting more mobility combos and mobility to them. So I guess I don't mind it too much. It does feel weird, but I don't. It doesn't bother me too much.
Okay. Yeah, the best you can do is like throw out a soul harvest and catch them out of that.
Yeah, but then again, I haven't fought a Genesis in PvP yet, so I'm not too sure in that regard. Do you have any thoughts?
Oh yeah, I mean, I actually think he is pretty cool. I definitely think he's my favorite Owlboy. Did you explore any of his unique gimmick at all?
Is it the stuff with the vitality and Gale
Yeah,
Gore?
so when he is awakened, and when he's awakened, each tier of skill, 100, 200, 300 MP, has a different buff when you activate a vitality or destruction skill. It's pretty cool. The most useful ones are vitality 200, which activates skill cooldown increase, or acceleration rather, and then destruction 300 MP, which gives you all damage increase. So those are pretty cool. I mean, and there's some other ones as well. Yeah, but I actually like that gimmick. I think it's pretty cool. I'm actually not a fan. Go ahead.
There was one destruction gimmick that increases damage against boss monsters, right?
That maybe it's destruction 200. I can't remember. Like he has so many that I just can't remember them off the top of my head. Yeah. Oh no, destruction 200 is magic defense decrease.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think the only ones I've unlocked at my stage was the defense decrease, the cooldown reduction, and the damage increase to boss monsters. I don't know. I might be reading ahead. I might have got it mixed up.
Maybe, yeah, no, I don't think that might be a different passive because, vitality 100 and destruction 100 are like just lame things. They're like bleed and something else, and then vitality 200 is the cooldown. Destruction 200 is the magic defense. Vitality 300 is defense increase of some sort, and destruction 300 is, like I said, the all skill. All damage increase. So that's cool. I mean, I like that. All his skills feel good. Like you said, Divine Lift feels good. That one skill, Retribution, where he just kind of creates a giant prism thing of light that goes forward. It's like a 300 MP.
Oh. Yeah.
That's definitely going to be a big boss killer. I'm sure it is already a big boss killer.
Oh, okay. I think I have that skill unlocked as well.
Yeah, you definitely do.
Yeah.
Cause that's a Root Knight skill. His final skill.
Oh. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I know then. Yeah, it's hard for me to say because I haven't gotten into the level cap yet, so I don't know too much about him yet.
Yeah, that's fair. Something really funny is his third job passive is probably one of the funniest passives I've ever read. Essentially, it stacks up 10 times, and then it amplifies every one of these other passives we've been talking about, where he gets stuff when he uses certain tiers of skills, right? But the funny thing about it is the way that it stacks by getting a buff. Any buff, like literally any buff will stack it. And I just think that's hilarious. Yeah, literally, if you go into Gate of Darkness with a party and someone activates buffs on you, you get like immediate like 5 stacks or something.
Holy shit.
It's so hilarious. I don't know. Like I've never seen a passive like that just activates off of any buff.
Yeah, that is definitely new. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Bison Red says, I will say he does have a lighter feel in play to the others.
I don't know about lighter. Not sure what that means, but if you mean more, he's like more mobile, yeah, for sure.
I guess. Oh yeah, definitely. I wonder what kind of mobility they give for. Does that mean every fourth pass is gonna have like good mobility?
Well, that's the next question I want to ask you guys, because something I can glean from this guy is like maybe this is kind of how they're gonna do the other pads gameplay wise. So I was
Mhm.
thinking like, okay, so this L boy essentially brings out the best, let's say, in Way of the Sword.
Mhm.
So I was thinking like maybe Fourth Path Raven then, maybe his gimmick will be like with core, maybe.
Oh
So
yeah.
cool.
Like I'm just kind of curious. Like, what do you guys think they could do with that?
You know, okay, I can see that. Then that's definitely interesting, actually.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because
I think-
then Eve's focus would also be on core, and if Eve's focus is on core, then there's a good chance that you might be right.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Sky, were you gonna say something?
I think it'd be a cool concept to explore,
Mhm.
especially
yeah.
because of the, or at least I speculate the direction of Raven's Warpath will be maybe more focused on the arm,
Yeah.
and I
Okay.
mean not in RH's sense, not
Yeah.
in Rayshard's sense, but more like
Controlled by the
Well,
arm.
yeah,
Like he's
yeah,
just
more like
Mhm.
he gets controlled by it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are thinking the same thing, because
Yeah.
even I was gonna say that. I was gonna say the same thing. Because you know
Because
how
all the paths rejected in some way. Every single one.
yeah. Well, yeah, Sky.
Actually,
you go.
thinking about Genesis' story,
Mhm.
isn't okay? Correct me if I'm wrong, but is the so as Genesis, the third path also is already dead, and the thing that's him is really just
In a way,
In a way,
yes.
yeah.
Like
What-
he's lost so much of himself that he's just so focused on his purpose that it doesn't feel like it's Elsa anymore. It just feels like it's the L.
If anything, the best way I could explain it, it's almost like reverse Hersher, in a way. Where
yeah.
Hersher's like only thing is like he's just like the void. He's an air. Like L-Boy is like kind of the reverse, where he's like he is the protector of the L. That's just who he is. That's everything he is.
Yeah,
Oh,
pretty much.
okay.
Like his whole purpose
So-
is just revolved around the L. Like everything for the L.
oh, okay. So is he like? So he's not physically dead. He's just
Yeah,
a bit like
yeah.
Hersher.
He's not. He's just very like
Just like his morals, his values has changed
yeah,
so
like
much.
like
that
he's
the
like
whole-
maybe
He's not really him anymore.
yeah, like
Yeah,
mentally like one path kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mentally one direction.
Yeah. That's what I was
Okay.
saying. Yeah, I think because of that, a lot of people were speculating. What if like the fourth part is just like them just not being themselves anymore? They're someone else, kind of thing.
Maybe. That's an interesting theory. Although some
'Cause I
classes
can
have
see
already
that-
done that, like a lot of the dark side paths to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like and in Raven's case, I feel like Raven's not gonna be there. It's just gonna be the Nassau arm there, kind of.
Yeah. It's like the
Yeah.
Raven's dead and
Thing.
the
Yeah.
arm is just
Which-
controlling the body now.
Which again, I think would work for his story because
Yeah, but why can't
It
we
feels
give
bad.
the boy a happy ending?
his
man?
happy ending is him sacrificing himself for his friends
No.
in Nova.
Yeah. Come on.
Dude, I
Aim Central. Let's go.
I know. I recently saw a fan art, a really nice fan art of drawn by Sasa on Twitter. They drew a Rage Hearts and Sarah's, and then the quote was just Sasa just wrote in traditional Chinese, it was just like, "Please, KG, please give this man a happy ending already." Kind of thing. And I saw it, I got sad because what if Fourth Path Raven is not even Raven, it's just his arm, and I'm like, no, because
No
you know
happy
how
ending on the pain.
yeah. Pain. You know how in the revamped Altira story?
Yeah. Yeah. Like yeah, we could transition to talking about that next. So
Okay.
so Sky, how much do you know? Because I know Crow watched it and read it on stream.
I know nothing actually.
Nothing about the Okay, so
Okay.
what they did is, you know how they changed the story mode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
That one I
literally
know.
change a lot of the cutscenes because they don't have as many dungeons anymore. In
Mhm.
my opinion, for the better.
I think so too. Yeah. Because I felt like a lot of early game writing was just fluff.
Yeah, it's a lot of filler, and so what they've done instead is they've made everything. I think the best way to describe it is coherent. They made everything
Yeah.
super coherent and everything flows well. Every dungeon has a purpose, literally.
Like it's relevant.
Yeah.
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 So I think in the past it was kind of like, oh, well,
Yeah, it's not very MMORPG kind of style story, like very. So I think in the past it was like they had to do some side plot before they can continue on the main plot,
Yeah.
and because of that, we had to do so many dungeons and side shit that we didn't care about. But now the story is they get straight to the point. They go straight to the main point.
Yeah.
Like, okay, guys, we're in trouble. You gotta help us now.
Yeah, like every
Yeah.
like before every dungeon felt like its kind of own mini story, but now every area feels like their own mini story with a big overarching plot kind of thing.
And the other thing is,
ahead.
every time a new character gets introduced to the Elsa's party, it actually feels like they bring something new to the party now.
Yeah.
Because like, so before it was Elsa, Aisha, and Rena, yeah. But then Raven joins, and all of a sudden, there's like so much tactics involved, and like even Raven joining at the same time, just so much analytics, tactics going on,
Political.
and it's really refreshing, pretty much kind of thing.
Yeah, Rena was a level-headed one, but she never talked about like tactics or anything like that. She was just
exactly.
level-headed
So yeah. And then Raven joins, and all of a sudden there's like a new layer to the story where it's just like, oh, you can actually implement tactics into our strategy. Like how should they approach this issue and stuff, crisis kind of thing. And it's really cool. I think so far, like when I've gotten up to Sander, I know because obviously the two most recent characters that joined the party would be Chung and Ara now at the story I'm up to. Yeah, I did feel like a little bit off about Chung joining the party. I felt like Chung didn't have a good enough reason to join the party because. Also, the other thing is they never really specifically mentioned Chung as a prince during this new story. So I'm like, did they retcon that? Does that mean Chung's not a prince anymore in this story, or did they just exclude it?
Actually, did he hide his identity as one in the original story?
Apparently Chung is a class. Apparently Chung is like a title, actually. Or maybe I might be wrong. I'm not sure if I'm wrong.
Well, Seikor is his family name.
Yeah, Seikor is his family name, and I think Chung is more like I guess like not a rank.
Title, yeah.
Or title.
Yeah, it's like Rose.
Yeah, it's like Rose.
The other thing is, because like in the new story, they never really mentioned help about being like a king or anything. They just said that he's just a guardian. Like
I think I don't know if there's any royalty because.
Oh, so Chung was never a prince. Prince is his name.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
That explains a lot of things. Yeah, dude. Oh, the only royalty was Rob. Yeah, okay. You know, I'm so okay. That means this new story actually just clarifies things for me. Because the old story, I did not feel like it clarified anything for me. Because that's why I was so confused. Because in this new story, Rod Ross is the royalty and he was the lord of the land, right?
Yeah.
And I was really confused about it, so I'm just like, wait, what's the whole deal about Chung and his father then, kind of thing? So I'm like, if anything, this story actually cleared it up for me because then it made me realize the misconception I had about Chung this whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we all knew. No, I think we all thought that he was a prince until do you remember when the backstories came out, like the ones?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about, like the memories of the whatever.
Yeah. So it wasn't until I think everyone thought he was a prince until that story came out, and then it's just his name's actually Prince.
I don't think I ever read that story because I didn't realize that until right now too. That I didn't know his name was Prince.
Yeah, because I never read the backstories. So I only read Ravens because I'm just like, oh, Ravens, I don't want to care about.
Okay,
yeah.
Actually, speaking of the backstories, Elsa got a new backstory along with his fourth path, and I thought that one was really cute. It was really easy to digest, easy to read. And it was actually kind of really sad to read at the beginning because Elsa was so lonely after Elysis and his dad left, right? So reading back to like Elsa when both his sister and his dad had to leave, and then he was just alone at home, and how home apparently felt smaller as a result because he was entering rooms less. Also, I'm like, that was so sad. I'm like, Elsa. I really like that they're. Even in the main story, that they're actually going back and delving into each individual character's backstory, and I really like that as well because then the characters actually feel like main characters. They don't feel like side characters anymore in this new story.
Yeah, because that's a problem I have with the Elsword's story is like a lot of times it feels like Elsword's the main character and everybody else is like doesn't have a place. Or something.
That is there.
Yeah.
Like recently, it's been the Lu show with like a lot because like obviously they're in Demon Realm, so obviously there's gonna be featured a lot. But it almost feels like she's being featuring a little bit too much. Same with the Lessus back in Lanox, featuring her a lot. But I think this current story, like you said, everybody applies something to the party, in a way.
Yeah, they all feel like main characters. I think
they're helpful.
Yeah, exactly. They're helpful. the other thing is like how there's like sometimes there's side plots going on between the main characters. Like for example, in Altira, when they went back to Ruben, Eve was offering Raven, "Oh, your arm looks like it needs some maintenance. It's like I can help you do maintenance." And then Raven's like doesn't trust Eve. He's like, "No, why would I trust Nasser?" But then we get to Velda, and you know that bit where Elsa almost dies because he dropped the gate walls to protect everyone. And then Ellis comes in and says that. I think that's when Raven realized, like, I'm not gonna let risk something like this happening again, because his arm was acting up in that bit and he couldn't save Elsa as a result.
Yeah.
So then after that situation, he went to Eve and he'd be like, so about the offer you made about maintenance on my arm, and then she actually goes and fixes Raven's arm, and I was like, that's kind of cute. This character development.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think so far Elsa and Raven get so much character development. I'm not sure about the other characters.
What was I say? It's funny you say that. Wait, how far did you get?
I got to Sander.
You stopped at Sander, or you made it through?
Yeah.
Okay, because like, it's funny you say that, because I only started, because I didn't know the cutscenes were actually any different. I thought they were the same cutscenes. Until someone told me when I was at Sander they were different. Then I started reading. So it's funny that you say that, because I actually feel like Eve felt like the main character, because she has I'm not gonna spoil it, but she has so many moments with other characters that like kind of built her I don't know, she just has like okay, I'll spoil one a little bit, but I'll be vague. She has a moment in Sander where she's talking to Aisha, and she essentially she's talking about how she feels alone, like she's the only Assad, and how she's like has to rebuild a whole like the civilization is like, you know, is it worth it? Like, am I doing this right? And then Aisha pretty much goes like, well, you know, in my perspective, if the Lander family was wiped out, I would do my best to bring them back, or things like that. And they just have like just a nice moment together. Like I think Aisha and Eve, I'm just like, are they friends? Like, do they even talk to each other? And then the game just like has the moment between them.
Yeah, that's okay. So actually, when Eve first joined the party, both Aisha and Raven, Aisha was actually the other person who also did not agree with Elsa's decision. She was just like,
oh, also real quick, are you done, Sky?
Yeah.
Unless you want me to.
It's up to you.
Wait, can you guys hear me?
It's up to you.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Wait, hello?
Hello? I can hear you.
Did you want to run?
It's up to you. I don't care. Either way.
Are you going to run more? Because if
I will.
so, I'll just come on my Animus. Wait, let me just reforge.
Take your time.
And pray that I get skipped.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Raven wasn't the only one who was against Eve joining the party. Actually, Aisha was also against Eve joining the party, and she was calling Elsa dummy because she was like, "Why would you accept the Nasser in the party without second thinking about it? Like, yeah, you need to consider these things." So
that's actually really cool that they had that moment. Then it makes it even better.
Yeah. So like basically, what you told me about, like, so in Sander she gets a really nice moment with Eve. I feel like that's actually like relationship development, and I kind of really like that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I think one other thing I wanted to talk about the new Elsa story is like, surprisingly, despite them cutting out so many dungeons and so much content in the original story, it doesn't feel like it's rushed at all. The pacing feels better. Yeah, I think if anything, the only reason I think that the pacing is fast is because I've read the original, like before they made all these cuts. I've read the original.
Wow, it feels so much more shorter and concise.
Yeah. But if I think about it in like a new perspective, the pacing doesn't feel that bad at all, actually. And so I'm really surprised that they're able to like implement it so well, like this new new kind of.
Like, okay, I'm gonna spoil a little bit, just a little bit of Lanox real quick, but like just to explain how good the flow is. So in Lanox, they arrive in Lanox, and there's a problem going on, and to solve the problem, they split up into two groups, and one group goes to the first dungeon in Lanox, and the other group goes to the second dungeon in Lanox. And so there's a purpose for each of those dungeons, because there's something they need to get from the first dungeon, and there's something they need to get from the second dungeon. So they do both at the same time. So you follow two different groups going through different dungeons, and then certain things other happen. That's why they go to the next dungeon. But again, every single dungeon has a purpose, like actual purpose. Like there is a reason to go to each of these dungeons. Like there is plot relevance in each of these dungeons, and that's what's important. That like I'd never seen before.
Actually, no. know. Actually, this whole splitting up thing, they didn't quite. It was introduced in Rigmarole area first, actually.
Yeah. No, yeah, I meant like comparing to the old story, not the post.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. But it's definitely something that they did use in Rigmarole story quest. I think because there's so many characters, like it'd be a hassle to follow what every single group did. So what they do in the Rigmarole story is that they actually just follow the group that your character is in.
Yeah.
So if Raven is, for example, Elysis is with Elysis and Ad, then you'd only follow Raven, Elysis, and Ad, and then you just once you regroup with the main team with everyone else, then you go back to the main story. But then if someone else plays like Elsa, they'd follow a different kind of story. At that bit of the story, I was like, I think that's a really smart way of like not making so many characters feel so like following so many characters such a hassle kind of thing.
Yeah, because like it also puts characters together that don't talk too often, because in the dungeon that
interaction.
Yeah, exactly. It certain characters just interact with each other you wouldn't think would interact. Like Ad and Raven kind of have like a cutscene together talking about certain things that go on. Yeah. I also real quick, I think I don't know how much as Ad has been so far, but I think Ad definitely shines in Lanox very well story wise.
Oh, okay, that makes sense, because I think he, in the anime when they were in Lanox, Ad felt like he contributed a lot.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah, okay, actually one other thing about Ad joining the party, Ad joining the party felt a bit it was a bit bland. It was funny though, cause like it was at the time where Chung and Ara was like, I'm gonna join, and then Elsa looks at Ad and Elsa's just like, I feel like you're gonna say something as well. And then Ad just goes, what? No, fine, I'll let you guys join me on my journey kind of thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Ad.
Yeah, I actually really, I don't, I'm trying to think of a way that makes sense. I don't really like Ad as a character, but I think he adds something very good in the overall party.
Yeah.
Like, I think he adds a good element to the party.
Yeah. His reasoning for joining, I don't know, him joining the party, I feel like he's just low-key being tsundere, like he wants to join the party.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that kind of, okay, that makes sense, because otherwise if I didn't think that way, I would have thought that Ad joining the party felt like a very badly written, but considering
it's mostly undertones, it's undertones.
Yeah, he adds something. Yeah, I feel like, it's so despite that, like I would have thought it was badly written, but I think knowing his character, I feel like it makes sense. Like it's not out of character for him to do that, so I guess it's not like, as a result, it's not a bad, like the writing doesn't irk me off or anything like that. It makes sense. What is that? Oh yeah. I don't know. So actually one thing I wanted to talk about was in regards about going back on the fourth path topic we were talking about. So the bit about like Raven fourth path being just the Nass and armies and Raven's not there. I actually got inspiration from this in the Altira storyline, which was when they first met Raven. Yeah. And then Raven was so unhinged. Okay.
And he gets like, what is it? He straight up is shown to be mind controlled in one scene.
Yeah. Like his eyes goes like
his eyes go straight blank, like literally.
Yeah.
Blank.
But Sky, I gotta read you what he says when he makes his first appearance in the story. He goes,
"Alright, okay.
How pathetic! You followed my ship with that abysmal skill." And then he goes, "Bow down, human, kneel and lower your head, revering power and submit to authority."
Wow.
Yeah. It's like, cause that one's interesting because that's like Raven mixed with the mind control. Like, there's other scenes where he's straight up mind controlled, but that early Raven boss stuff is just like
him mixed.
It's him mixed with it. It's interesting.
Yeah, that was his emotions getting amplified by the hatred in the Nass.
Yeah.
So,
it's interesting. I think that definitely works, and it makes sense again for what he's trying to do. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, so I was thinking, like, what if fourth path Raven is that unhinged kind of thing?
I could see that, honestly, and I think maybe they even opened the door for that in those cutscenes. To be honest.
Yeah,
with you.
I like that.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's gonna awaken something in a lot of fangirls.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's already into it.
No, Oh, dude, I was reading it on stream and I absolutely just brain rotted so hard. I was like, oh no. I couldn't, like, I could not focus anymore. I never expect this from Raven because I always expect him to be like, oh, calm and collected, cares about his friends, he's very cool and stuff. And then he comes out with this unhinged thing.
Yeah. Which again, I think lines up very well with his story because I think part of that really is him, to be honest with you, because I think he is rightfully very pissed off about what happened, essentially, but he doesn't want to show it because he wants to keep up his persona.
Yeah, he actually does bring it up at the end of Altira quest, like when you do save him, he says that though I was mind controlled, he says like something like, they were actually part of some of my feelings, my true feelings, so it's like, I wouldn't deny that, and he's just like, I'm just gonna try and make amends for what I did, kind of thing. That's what he says.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a human condition, you know. There's just parts of us we don't want to show, but there's still parts of us.
Yeah. So, man, I would be very sad if Fourth Path Raven does end up being like, it's not Raven anymore. It's just a Nasod arm fully controlling his mind.
I think the mix is good because I think the mix is like, this is like. Yeah, right. Like this is his like the side he doesn't want to show being essentially like amplified.
Yeah, I could imagine like just like from in Fourth Path Raven, first job and second job could be him trying to fight the control of the Nasod arm. So it'd be like a mix Nasod arm and Raven in one body. But then maybe third job comes around and it's just a Nasod arm left, kind of thing.
Maybe.
So, yeah, it feels like a bit of a. Kind of like what Nisha and Noah had.
I was gonna say Sario, because like Sario gets rid of her emotions.
True. Yeah.
But even then, like, Sario says she gets rid of her emotions, but like, a lot of her stuff still feels a little bit emotional. But like,
she's just somewhat.
Yeah, like the I mean, again, we just don't know much about third paths, just because they're not in the plot. But like, you know, a lot of her quick voices and things like that, they're not 100% robotic, you know.
I think it actually depends a lot on that language dub that you listen to, because I know Japanese Eve is very emotionless.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, they really take that very far, actually.
Yeah.
In the one-second direction.
Yeah, I actually preferred the Eve like being very emotional because I feel like she's meant to be a robot trying to understand human emotions.
That's
like
that's why
how the
Empress
Japanese
is like the plot one.
Yeah. So I felt like for the Japanese one, I actually really like Eve's voice because of that. Because I feel like it suits. That's what she's meant to be, a robot kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then again, in the new story, she is written as a character who's meant to understand human emotions. So I guess like
she's trying to do,
yeah, kind of thing. So I guess I can get used to the Korean dub in that regards.
Was it another thing as well, speaking of Raven, is they I thought about this with Carl already, but do you remember, Sky, on one podcast I talked about something about Raven's concept that has always been vague to us?
What do you mean by that?
Essentially, so story-wise, they never explained where the Nasad arm came from, because it's obviously not Adrian technology, because like
oh, yeah, that's right,
yeah. So they actually do explain it, and it turns out Nasad King made it. It was Nasad King who made it. That's why Adrian doesn't have anything to say about it, or like he doesn't really delve into it. It's because Nasad King made it. Essentially, Nasad King made the Nasad arm, and a mind control device to just, you know, mind control humans and things like that. Apparently, a lot of the other Black Crow soldiers also had the mind control device in them.
Yes. Nasod King was using them to clear out the Alterasia in transporting tunnel. That's why we go there. Yeah, because you know how Alterasia affects Nasods and they're really harmful to Nasods.
And obviously humans wouldn't be affected by Alterasia.
Yeah. So that's why Raven was being used for that.
Mm-hmm.
What Kiryu mentioned in comments. Probably the most pronounced thing from it was that he legit shot down Elsa's ship and made sure it would land near where the Pongos were.
That's like a that's another what's it called? What was the thing we said with the ad thing? Whatever. It's a thing that isn't stated outright. But yeah, Raven intentionally shot down the ship so it would land where the Pongos are, So that
Actually, yeah, I do remember reading about it. It just went through my, it just kind of slipped my mind, kind
yeah.
of thing. Yeah, I did read about it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, obviously in the original story, they did mention that Raven was trying to help them despite being mind controlled, but they mentioned it a bit more like, oh yeah. This they kind of like
By the way, we
instead of
crashed.
showing.
Mhm.
Oh,
Oh, don't worry,
Yeah, like-
hold on.
it was kind of like in the old one, instead of showing, they kind of just told us, oh yeah, Raven was holding back. But in here, they're actually showing how he's holding back, kind of thing. And
Right.
I love how they did it here instead.
Mhm.
It's much better like conveyed in this new story.
Yeah.
So yeah, really.
Also, again, another good plot thing in Altera. Altera just has a lot of good plot moments. So the reason why Nasad King was doing what he was doing, essentially like making the Nasad army robust, is because he actually knew the demons were coming outside of like Fida and things like that.
Yeah, that's something that didn't change from the original story. So in the original story, that was the main reason for Nassau King to do that as well.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I guess in the new story it was I think in the new story he just tried to like clarify himself, like kind of thing, because I think people were misunderstanding Nassau King as doing things for an evil deed. But no, oh yeah, Nassau King, like he said that he was following Eve's direction where he was trying to revive the Nassau race. He wasn't meant to create like battle unit Nassau's, right? But he explained himself that he senses the demon realm coming. That's why he's making these battle Nassau's.
Yeah.
And he was telling Eve that. Yeah, he was explaining that. Yeah. Oh, about Alterasia, it does actually affect living creatures. It's just more so a threat to Nassau's because it breaks the connection between the tech and the people being controlled.
Okay.
Yes, I don't know if they intended for that to happen because they know that there was a risk for sending mind controlled humans in to do the job, but then I guess it's just like it wasn't meant. They weren't. It was a risk, but they weren't expecting the risk to happen, kind of thing. Like that thing. Yeah. So Raven happened to break out. Marina was unable to re-enter home because she accidentally brought spores from the elf, and the elves freaked out. Wait, where was this mentioned? No, I think this was.
They returned to Ruben in one quest. They had to go back to Ruben. So
Yeah, I know, but I didn't read about the bit where Rena was trying to re-enter, like go back to the Elven village. Unless I slipped it. Unless it like it missed my it just slipped past my mind. Cause like all I read about was what's the pink-haired girl name in Ruben?
Anne.
Anne, yeah. Anne did come back and she was like freaking out. Oh, I thought it was Anne that mentioned it though. It wasn't the elf, because Anne was like, "Oh my gosh, did you guys bring spores back?" Like kind of thing. I don't know if it was Rena going into the Elven village. I don't remember. It might have slipped my mind. I might have like missed it while reading, but because I don't remember the elves. I just remember Anne fussing over about it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. I don't know. Did you guys have anything else you guys wanted to add about the story?
I had to stop at Elysian just because I had to finish Genesis. So I don't know what happens to the rest of Elysian and things like Atlas and Elysian.
Well, I assume with Elysian and those stuff, they'd be the same as the old like.
Well, it's actually different so far.
Oh really?
Yeah, the first half is different because they got first of all they got rid of a joke. What is it? No longer fondles Ara randomly. That does not happen.
What?
Yeah,
that was a thing?
Yeah, goes like, what's this? Yeah, you guys never saw that scene? Yeah, goes like, what's this soft squishy material? And then yeah, and then Eve like slaps him. Yeah, that's not a thing anymore.
Okay. I remember that, but it completely because like I think when I was reading at the time, I didn't register that he was like squishing Ara's boobs, so I kind of went over my head, kind of thing. That's why I don't. Yeah, okay, so that's good.
Yeah. So they changed it they also changed. I don't know if it was maybe like this before, but it seemed like they made him a lot more sympathetic because they very early on they just focused on the fact that he's been here for years and years and years alone, and he's just kind of here to like watch the Dicium being transferred, and that's about it.
Okay. Alright, I'll have to keep an eye out for that when I get to Elysian, because I think pretty much for me like once I got to Elronode, I haven't been following the Elsa story as closely. Like it just I think mainly because it just felt like everything was about Elsod and Lucille. Like Raven felt like a so much of a side character that I really just lost interest in the Elsod story.
I think the you may have skipped Prunam, but I think the Prunam story is actually pretty good. It's actually not really about any of the main characters. It's more about like these side characters and kind of how they're dealing with what's the goings on with birth and like what's happening there.
Yeah, pretty much Prunam is where I've pretty much completely disconnected myself from the Elsa story. I haven't really read any of the Prunam stories.
It's actually a pretty good story, mostly having to do with Havian and things like that. Like, because Havian as a character, like, you kind of hate him, but he's still a good character because he starts off as an a-hole, and then like he's like a guy that works and stuff, and he seems kind of arrogant, and then like you just kind of work with him, and then he just straight up betrays you when you get to the train dungeon. And then you fight him again, and then it turns out... Yeah. You said 1 second?
No. Well, I said everyone saw his betrayal come.
Yeah. Everyone saw the betrayal, and then like, and then it turns out no, he was actually doing this for a good reason because what is it? He wanted to become the. I think he wanted to. I'm not sure completely about the Prunam story.
I think something about he wanted his race to be the strongest race, kind of thing. So he didn't like how his dad was being so submissive to the birth race or something?
Yeah, partly that, and I think he did want the revival to happen. He wanted the revival of... What's her name? I can't remember.
I can't remember the spelling.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I can only think of Salt, and like... I don't know why I can only think of Salt right now. You know who Salt is? That's the demon they're trying to revive in Lanox.
That's right. Yeah. Sorry.
I can only think. Why can't I remember her name? Oh my gosh. Anyway.
Yeah, I know her name as well.
Yeah,
I know what you mean though.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Final boss of Birth Raid. He actually wants to revive her back, and he actually is very willing to give up his body to become the catalyst of her. And I think it's either that I forget why it doesn't work out. Either he's not a suitable vessel or something else. And then it turns out that Nichiel becomes the actual vessel. So that's like another interesting thing that happens. I don't know if you know who she is, but she's one of the people in Ice, right? She's like the dog.
Yeah. She was raised by them, yeah.
Yeah, Agrip, thank you. There you go. Agrip was her name. Yeah, the Mad King Agrip or whatever. Or the whatever they call it. Yeah, so yeah, Agrip. It's actually a pretty interesting story because like Birth was actually under Agrip and like served under her. And things like that, and like Prunam was a very divided land until Agrip came and kind of like let the two races, essentially put the two races together. Like I don't know about forcefully, but like essentially made them work together, and it's like she was like the perfect leader. And then now she's gone, and like I guess they went back to fighting. And then Birth like kind of like did his own thing and trying to revive back and steal the power. And then the most interesting thing, I don't think they go into it that much. But it's really cool when the actual fight happens, because so you're fighting Birth, and because you're fighting with Birth, he can't get complete control of the soul because like you're fighting him, you're obviously making him weaker, and like Agrip is kind of fighting back too, and so like this third personality is just kind of created that like. Like, I don't know what it's supposed to be because they leave it vague, but, you know, maybe a part of me actually likes that it's vague. But essentially, a third personality is just created called the Annihilator that's neither a Grip nor Birth. And then that thing just creates a barrier around where they're fighting and teleports them to the you know, the kind of, like, gray, grassy area thing. Yeah, it just kind of creates a barrier around them. They have to fight this thing, and once they fight it, Birth dies, and it's exited out of the soul, and then Agrip can go into Nichiel and all that stuff as a suitable vessel.
Yeah, RP Birth. Yeah,
he's just dead.
No. Yeah, I think I remember because I never read this part of the story. I only know about it because you told me about it. So I'm like, based on what you've narrated, it sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, it actually is pretty cool. I do think the one bad thing about it is like it's really not about the main characters. It's about the people who live in Prunam and like their story. And like the L gang is more like the essentially the gears, like the problem solvers that like can come in.
This is one thing I wanted to bring up was back in the days like before like they before this new story quest revamp thing, they also like the Elsa story in the early phases, like Ruben Elder, it was so focused on like what the El Search party was doing. So the only thing we knew about the world of Elrios was based on what Elsod and them were doing. We actually like it felt like the world had no context to it. The world wasn't really fleshed out in the story.
Yeah.
But like with this new story, they actually explain the Elrian kingdom, ancient Elrian kingdom. What are the Earth elves like? What are the elves and stuff? How there's kingdoms around each el. What is it, etc., etc. They actually do a lot of world building in the early stories now, which is really nice. And I think like, because like what I noticed is Noah's story actually has the same thing. So when I was replaying Noah on the EU server and I was reading his story, I was like, wow, there's actually a lot of world building in Noah's story. And it's just like, because the world building that we wouldn't get in the main character, like following the main characters, it all occurred in Noah's story. But then like now with this new revamp that they actually implemented like world building in the early stages of the story, I really like that change as well.
Yeah.
Because now it feels like we're in a living, breathing world rather than just following our favorite characters. That's it. Kind of.
Right.
Like yeah, I really like that.
I think it's good to definitely these worlds definitely seem not worlds, these like areas definitely seem like their own areas and definitely seem like very fleshed out about like the things that are going on or whatever. It's just all really good, like the things going down. You can see how these different like communities work and things like that, because like when you get to the end of Lannox, there's literally a scene where like Adele goes like, okay, I'm gonna contact the rest of the cities and be like, all right, this demon god's being revived, like we should probably evacuate and like, you know, protocol whatever. And it's like you just kind of like, okay, these are actual places now. Like she's actually communicating and talking with these other places that we've already left. Like it's actually a living, breathing world.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so I'm just like, it's so nice. There was something I was going to mention in regards. I actually forgot. I was going to segue something off of that, but yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else I wanted to say?
I mean, okay. My only thing that I'm gonna say about that real quick is that I'm actually a little bit worried in a sense, because, and I'll tell you why. So when it comes to Elsword, apparently Elsword is a very good game to kind of start your like career when it comes to like getting into like game development and things like that. And there's actually a lot of employees like sometimes like joining Elsword, working on it, and then eventually leaving and moving on. So I'm a little bit worried that like these people who are working on these stories are eventually going to leave the company. That's like a little fear of mine, because like I can easily see a bright-eyed new person getting into game development, and they're just like, okay, we're trying to revamp the story, like what do you think you can do about this? And they read over all the story, they're just like, oh, I can summarize this, I could do this, this, and this. Oh, I found like this is a plot point in Elrianode and Riggamore, I can mention that very early on in Altera or whatever, right? Like I can definitely see like somebody who's very new into game development, very hyped up, very energetic, like doing these type of things. And like, you know, obviously, like, again, this is all speculation, right? Like, and I'm a bit worried that like that the people or person whoever did that would eventually move on, and like, you know what I mean? Like the person who was like this good mind around the story like might potentially leave. I'm a little bit worried about that.
Yeah, I feel like if this would be the reason why Elsword like story gets so many retcons every now and then. Like, because I feel like the Elsword story has changes so much over the years, and changes so drastically as well. A lot of things get retconned and etc. etc. Like, yeah, it definitely would be a fear, but I would hope that because like, you know, based on these changes, like all the changes that we got have all been very positive changes. They have been really like, so hopefully like it would be like that in the future. Like if they do make changes, it's all going to be good changes to the story. Like that makes sense, or flesh out more things. Yeah,
the only literally the only negatives to the story is just the presentation. There's no voice acting in the story at the moment, like probably because
it's new.
Its update was quick, and like, you know, that's a lot of cutscenes to do or whatever.
I don't know, because I feel like here's the thing. I played this new game called Tears of Themis, right? It's, although to be fair, Miho is a bigger company than
different money.
No, because even if Tears of Themis is a smaller game than Elsword, it's still a bigger. Mihoyo as a company is still bigger than KOG, so I guess they can afford to like just quickly record so many voice lines.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I was also gonna add another thing of just like this also just might be a test of just like, you know, if people don't care about the story or just pass it by, then like it might not be worth putting the extra money in to pay the voice actors. But if people actually like the story and they're just like they want it to be fleshed out more and they like the direction, then they might see like, okay, this is actually worth it to put money into.
The other thing about the Elsa story is like they actually did add a bit of like new visuals to the story. So there are new like artworks drawn, like especially in Velda. There's like a bit where it's Elsa facing off against a demon army after he shuts down the gate. There's also they also add a lot of gradients. So instead of the black background, if it's like a serious situation, they add like red gradient or like gray gradients for different settings, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's nice, but I think it would be even better if they could just add like just even background screenshots.
Yeah, just the dungeon background or something.
Yeah,
where they are.
Like some sort of visual.
Town.
Yeah. I understand how like Elsword is a very old game kind of thing as well. It's like they're just basing things off of like old things, because I think in the old times the background would actually be the village that you were standing in for the story, that kind of thing. Where back in the days where like it was tiny text, and then it wasn't like the story wasn't presented on a tiny black screen on your screen. It took up the whole like Elsword UI. So the characters would actually just be talking and then just like there. So if they could do like reintroduce that, like kind of like how like visual novels in phone games work, kind of thing. There's a background kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that would be nice, I think. The leader of Calypso's artwork kind of popped off. I haven't got it to Sander yet, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, like everybody likes his artwork. It is pretty cool.
Yeah. But story aside, I really like the new progression growth thing.
Yeah, the progression is really good too. The only dungeons you have to repeat are the last 3, which are Adrian's Palace and the 2 Solus dungeons. Every other dungeon you do once.
I was talking about the in-game stuff. So you know the character growth thing?
Oh, you're talking about the Professor Foru?
Yeah, Professor Foru.
I will. Yeah. Have you seen that? Have you seen that yet, Sky? Yeah, you did log on earlier.
No, I have not.
Oh, okay. It's at the top of your screen. It's like this little Foru with glasses.
Oh yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I heard about it, but I just haven't explored it yet.
It's actually a really cool thing. It essentially he gives you little missions you have to do, and you get like these really cool rewards for it. But the best thing, at least in my opinion about it, is if you click on each of the quests, the Professor Foru will give you a little tutorial about either what you have to do to complete it or why it's important.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just with the screen. Like when you log on, every character has it now.
Yeah, like first of all, that's really cool because it teaches new players actually how to play the game and like the important things of these other dungeons, like why to do like the Sinister Intent. Like when you click Sinister Intent, he's just like, you can enter Sinister Intent and fight these little enemies. And then when you beat that one, he's just like, how'd you feel about that? Did that feel good to beat them? You can defeat another one and get this accessory, and then you beat another one and get an accessory. It's like, wow, you got this accessory. And then when you complete all the Sinister Intent ones, he's just like, wow, you got a lot of materials. You can trade them at Pain. And then you click the button, and it's literally a teleportation thing, and you go to Fita, and then you make a thing at Pain. It's like, it literally teaches you why Sinister Intent is important and how to make like things in Sinister Intent.
Yeah.
Like
apparently they plan on introducing more, like for later on, like
so like this is my only issue with Professor Foru is that it stops at Fusion Theory. Like that's my only problem with it.
Apparently they're thinking of introducing like later.
Yeah, they really should. It's executed very well because it's quests. People can follow quests and they get potions. And the best thing too is that, like Crow said, they're per character, and one of the most common rewards on that thing, well, the best rewards, are you get a lot of potions. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Like, I don't know if you guys have ever had that moment where, like, you're trying to play an alt character, but you have to remember to trade potions, or if you don't, like, they're not gonna have any. Like, this Professor Foru literally gives you so many potions that my consumable inventory was, like, full, like, at a certain point. Yeah.
Same. I appreciate it though.
Yeah, it's so necessary.
Huang Sang's supremacy. Oh, well, I didn't know Elsa's artist is still Huang Sang. I thought Huang Sang left.
Yeah, I thought he left too.
Yeah, I thought he left as well. Are you sure it's still Huang Song that draws for Elsword? Because I follow their Twitter, and I know they've drawn a lot of Elsword stuff, but I was under the impression that they left the team. But I don't know. I don't know how to say. Okay, but yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, but yeah. No, it's absolutely amazing because like, yeah, you get all those things, and then like you'll also get like a free inventory expansion that expands all your inventories by 1 line. Like again, this is per character, and it also gives you, for the secret dungeon section, it gives you a 14-day, secret or close space title, and you get like 30 L rewards just for free. So that's like I think that's like 5% of what you need for the actual title, just immediately given to you.
Oh my gosh.
It's
Dang.
so nice.
Okay. Yeah, I really appreciate this new character growth. Huang Song is still with them? Okay. I guess they never left. Yeah, but then again, you can't I don't think you can underestimate how how artists can just mimic another artist's style, it's not that it's hard, it's just like artists are so skilled that I feel like they can do that if they just really tried. So I'm not sure. But I don't know.
Does it have like a credits thing?
Typically when it comes to game companies, not really, because everything that the artist draws kind of belongs to the company in a way. So it would be credited as KOG. So I feel like, yeah, it's hard to say. I feel like, I don't know how we found out Huang. Oh yeah, I think El Wiki has the details as to who drew them. El Wiki, probably.
They had to figure out where they got that source from.
I think it was El Wiki where I got the.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That's like, and they got to figure out where they got their sources from.
Yeah, I don't know if they like read Korean news, like gaming news journalists and stuff. Maybe I'm not sure. Hard to say. It'd be nice that I was like, it'd be nice if we could get behind the scenes on like who works on Elsword. Like for example, we know the we know the Elsa CEO, but it'd be nice if we could like get introduced to the other teams, like what miHoYo did with their version 2.0 stream.
Hated it. Well, a lot of people hated it. I said even though a lot of people hate it, I didn't mind it. I thought it was cute.
Well, okay, yeah. Not gonna lie, I feel like this is a bit controversial. I feel like I really dislike. It was so stupid. They were being such kids about it. But
I think that's just like what naturally happens when you have a big game. Is that the toxicity level is more intense? Unfortunately.
Yeah. The more like the bigger the community, the more toxicity there is.
Yeah.
But I think in regards to that, a lot of it stemmed from just race. It's like it was racist remarks.
Yeah. I think like a lot of people just were just like, why is it not in English? It's like the main thing.
Yeah. It's like borderline racist, and it's just like, do these people not realize that countries other than like their own country exists? Like a country with different cultures. I was really annoyed. I was like, is this so
exactly. They were expecting something else.
Yeah.
They were too used to the voice actors like doing it and stuff like that.
So but the thing is, no, I don't know why they expected something else when because miHoYo literally said that version 2.0 would be. Okay, I'll wait for. Okay, so I'll just tell you guys. miHoYo even like that version 2.0 stream is gonna be different, and I don't know why people went in expecting it to be the same as all the other streams. I hate reading, so I like went too fast, but I knew they were Chinese. Yeah, that's the thing. Here's the thing, like miHoYo freaking said that version 2.0 would be a special stream, live stream. So I knew by the time when they said that, I was like, oh. It's probably not gonna have the voice actors, and it's probably going to be in Chinese. So I kind of just knew from that announcement. Everyone like, I don't know. It's like either they didn't get the message, or they didn't see the announcement. They assumed that it'd be the same, but it's not the same. It's not gonna be the same when miHoYo themselves announced that it would be a different type of stream kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I really hated how like people were reacting in chat. It was just straight up like uncalled for, and they're just being spoiled. I hated it.
Yeah,
so much.
Also that chat needed some moderation. Like I think that's something they messed up on. They definitely needed like some like just any mods in there.
Yeah, but the thing is, how do you moderate? Because there was so many people just being like this rude and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
you just do emote only. You just do emote only mode.
Emote only mode. I don't know, because
if people can't say anything, they won't.
Yeah, but emo only is also would be a very negative impression. That'd be like on the it influenced the engagement of the stream badly is the kind of thing.
I don't think so with the team. If the stream is being that toxic, because like a lot of big streamers do that when like a chat is getting toxic. They'll be like they either do subscriber only, or they'll do emote only. So that's what AGDQ and SGDQ had to do. Like Summer Games Done Quick and Awesome Games Done Quick.
I don't think they could have.
Yeah, they couldn't. They obviously couldn't do sub mode only. Obviously.
Yeah.
So I think emote only would have sufficed.
Followers only. They even had slow mode, I think, as well. So
yeah, slow mode helps, but not when you have like that many thousands.
Yeah, exactly. So it's stupid. But that stream did oh my god, it did trump all the categories. It trumped live IRL.
Oh yeah. In terms of like numbers, like that stream was very well done.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be really hard to moderate a stream that's that big. Kind of thing.
Yeah. That's why you gotta do these just group wide things just to catch everyone.
Yeah, for sure. I think next time they should just make a I feel like next.
Well, follower only is you just click one button and then you can be toxic.
Yeah. Because even Miho said that this would just be a one-time thing and that's going to be a special stream, but then people just didn't listen. They still get like one.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like the stupid people don't listen. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter how much you're gonna tell a stupid person something; they're not going to listen. That's why they're stupid.
It's like arguing with a brick wall.
Exactly. Yeah. That's just how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
That's why you just completely shut them up with whatever method you can.
Yeah, understandable. Oh well, it did be the 21st century. Internet and social media, everyone has a voice. Yeah. Wait, is there anything else we wanted to talk about in regards to the LSOD updates?
What else? I don't think what else would we get. I mean, we got the one Raven buff. I don't know if you guys have experienced it yet. I feel like I feel it. It's pretty nice actually.
Wait, do we call it a buff or do we call it a change?
Oh, it's a buff. The Super Armor Crow is not it. Super Armor Crow is terrible to use. But this is
at the same time. Wait, because with the new Napalm Crow, is it a debuff? Does it act as a debuff?
I can't. I haven't been able to test it yet, but I definitely feel the extra damage.
Because my one concern is in regards to bosses with hyper armor, for example, birth rate. Like, would it still be a relevant skill kind of thing? Because at least with
he has debuff stages, so I think definitely.
Okay.
Because the important thing about the Ignition Crows thing is that it's not a defense decrease; it's a damage increase. So
yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just like, but even then, if it's a debuff, then it'd be like you'd be useful on birth rate in those like down phases where he's not in hyper armor kind of thing.
I mean, yeah, that's when you do the most damage anyway. Because like again, because the most important thing about it is that it's a unique modifier. So like it's not like another magic attack. It's not another defense increase. It's damage increase, just raw damage increase. I think I would just have to do calculations to like figure out like you know like is it like how much stronger really is it, and does it work on hyper armor or not?
Yeah, like I think it's just mainly the question is it a debuff or is it a party buff kind of thing? But I assume it would be a debuff because it requires the enemy to stand in the flames, right?
It's just hard. It's hard to say because it just says the enemy will take more. I think. Let me see what it says. It says this damage and fire increase 15%.
Oh, damage in fire. So that
no, because that's what the stat says. The description says enemies within the flame will receive increased damage.
Oh.
Yeah. So the enemies within the flame will receive more damage.
Unless it becomes a whole new unique category on its own. It's not a debuff or buff anymore. It's a new category.
Maybe, I don't know. Again, even if it's only a debuff, it's completely fine because you do the most damage in those debuffable phases. Like if you compare laser phase to like just doing damage normally, like laser phase is literally the reason people skip Black Cage now is because laser phase exists. That's completely fine. Because it's also stacked up with what is it? If you do that with Ifrit Flame reduces defense by 15, and that increases damage by 15. So that can be really good.
Okay, yeah. Kiryu says that not necessarily a debuff. It could be a field requirement similar to Tactical Field.
Yeah, tactical field I think is damage increase to bosses or bosses take more damage. I think what is it?
Tactical was a buff, I think.
Yeah.
Like if you,
I was
you know, like
thinking. Go ahead. Go ahead.
so like you stand in the field and then it gives you a buff
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
every like it gives you like 1 second buff every 1 second.
Yeah,
But
I was thinking more like Rune Field actually, because Rune Field is both a
Oh.
buff and then it has an enemy component to it too actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Will it be a Runefield enemy component?
Yeah, Rune Field has both. Rune Field has buff
Yep.
and I don't know if it's a debuff for how it's described, but yeah.
Yeah, because Raven's one is like the requirement is for the boss, the enemy, to be standing in the flames. So I was like, how?
Which
like,
is very easy to do, by the way. It's so
Yeah.
much easier than standing inside it for super armor.
Yeah. I guess my concern was just like, because super armor would be always there, whereas a debuff, if it was a debuff, like
You say it's always there, is unfortunately not. That is it's very hard to hit with that, unfortunately. And if you jump, obviously.
But yeah, that was just one of my concerns. Just
Yeah.
like, because even Soju, she brought it up to me where she was like, "Oh, I kind of prefer the super armor more than." that."
I mean, I feel like maybe that's only because like what is it? It was just kind of convenient. Because I was doing runs. I did the runs with her when we were just these last couple of weeks, and even with honestly without super armor, like okay, to be honest, I honestly feel like you don't need super armor in Birth. Like, is that I don't know if it's a hot take or whatever.
Yeah, you don't really.
Like I think the only fight that you need it, and even it's a maybe is the Hadron fight. I think Hadron, because Hadron can knock you off platforms, but even then, if you're in iframes, he can't move you. Like, maybe you'll need super armor there. Aside from that, it's just kind of annoying. Like, the super armor thing just kind of, like, reduces, like, the DPS time. But, what is it? Words escape me. It just reduces DPS time. It won't... Lack of super armor will not kill you. That's what I'm trying to say. Lack of super armor in Birth will not kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not like in Rosso when like he drags the side thing. If you get caught if you get caught in the air, you get like yeeted to one side.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Like, the only time that happens is, like, the Hadron fight, which is one fight out
Yeah.
of 6.
Yeah, I think more than anything you need damage. I think more than anything you need damage reduction.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's more of a convenient
Which-
thing, and, like, to be honest, like, you could just use stone apples at the end of the day, you know?
Yeah,
Apples also
yeah.
give defense. Right. Yeah, some defense.
Because if it's only like a one-time thing where at this point you need super armor, then stone apple would actually be more convenient because you can just activate it whenever you need it. Yes.
And also the final fight, you need 0 super armor, because he doesn't do hit stun. Which is something interesting.
Yeah.
Like, the hardest boss in the game does no hit stun. Like, that's actually really interesting.
Yeah.
Because Toho doesn't do hit stun, lasers don't do hit... Oh, I think lasers make you, like, a single hit stun, but, like, you're standing there anyway, so... Doesn't matter.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is more like you already have like fake super armor. I don't know how else to call it. Like with your skills anyway.
Right. What is it? Oh, speaking of Birth, like, that's a good tangent. Birth rate story mode's gonna be a thing in a month for us, the thing in KR.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Pretty cool. Also
speaking
in
of
general,
Birth-
Birth nerfs. Yeah, just in general, Birth nerfs.
yeah.
It makes sense. All the people who would have been challenged by the strongest Birth, they're done. They got their VOS full evolution. They got the black and white title. They're done. So nerfing Birth, because they especially nerfed his HP and attack. So yeah, it just makes sense.
Speaking of Birth, Meteor got his VOS.
Yeah, I did get my
Oh,
VOS.
congrats.
Thank you, Sky. Thank you.
Wait, Sky, did you know about it?
I knew about it a few days ago. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. If there's definitely no one, if there's people who doesn't know yet, yeah, Meteor got his VOS.
Yeah, I did get my VOS. Soju told me to take my shirt off, and I took my shirt off, and I got it in the run that I took my shirt off.
And that's why he still has his shirt off even now.
Yeah, I have to.
Still
Wow.
in the post. He's still in the post celebratory.
I'm being serious, by the way, Sky. She literally DM'd me and was just like, "Take your shirt off. It'll give me a damage bonus on my what is it? On my code ultimate." She said plus. She literally told me it'll give me +1 damage to junk break, and I was just like, "Okay, I'll do it once." And literally the one time I did it, I got it.
Holy. Wow.
I can't.
Oh
You
my
can't
God.
underestimate the power of shirtless Raven. It makes all the
Yeah.
like if you can.
I use the if anybody was wondering what I used the what is it? Halloween werewolf top.
Oh.
It's usually the one I go to.
Oh, yeah.
Shirtless
Yeah.
Raven.
Yeah, it's a pouch. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently.
His,
Yeah.
his upper his like naked upper body was too powerful.
Apparently.
He
Apparently.
just had to give it to you.
We gotta advocate for more shirtless Ravens out there.
So yeah, guys, if you want your VS, if you're a Raven player and you want a VOS, just give him a shirtless like top.
Exactly.
You'll get it. Each piece.
Yeah, so far it's worked
100%
for me.
guarantee.
Yeah, so far it's been 100% for me.
100% of the times he's tried it, it works.
Exactly. Yeah, technically.
I could technically try since I still have a raid. Do I still have a raid top? I can't remember, but yeah. I mean, like it doesn't matter to me because I don't deal damage, so I could give it a shot.
Dude, is there like are there any Nova DPSs in Birth like in any?
Yeah.
servers?
There's 2 in NA.
Chili.
It's Chili and I think his name is Invocations. Something like that.
Locations.
Yeah, those 2. They are geared out. They got +12, full
Yeah.
R21, all that. They are
Yeah.
hella
My
geared.
Chili's planning to.
Yeah.
Chili's planning to switch to. I think Chili's has a Crimson set for now, so you can farm titles and stuff. But after he's done, he's switching his gear to Violet.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
makes sense because he's
Yeah,
focused on PvP.
Good PvP, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because my question was gonna be, how do you DPS as Nova in Birth Rate? He's so
PO.
sneaky.
You just have a PO and Chung with you to give you defense, and PO
That
gives
makes
you ignore
sense.
defense essentially.
Dude,
Yeah.
I feel
Like-
very sad about
Like literally, whenever I see footage of those 2 doing raids, they always have a PO with them, just because PO is just your ignore defense in late game. It's
Dang,
so busted.
imagine needing 2 other characters in order to
As a
enable your,
function, yeah.
enable your DPS in a raid. To add, well, actually,
So sad.
for that reason alone, I think if I do get a new job change, I am gonna switch back to Ray Chance. Just because
See how it is.
Nova kind of sad. Like he got his buffs, his new buffs are still very nice. I still like the new buffs a lot, like the one to clearing. But I think just because I just really like both Ravens, I'm still gonna alternate between the 2. Because after these new changes, I was hesitant. I was like, I kind of want to stick with Nova now. But then I had to think about it, like Nova and Birth Rate. Oh my gosh, kind of a pain.
I mean, to be
but, like,
fair, like you probably wouldn't be much more. Is your damage really that different? Have you checked them?
it's not about the
Birth
damage;
Rate?
it's about the survivability, actually.
I mean, Dark
No-
Orb.
like I'm like, if I just took off my Wonder Marking gear, I definitely would have survived better. But it's just like,
Yeah, do you use Exodia and stuff?
no, I don't use
Okay,
Exodia.
that's
It was just that one run. I was using Wonder Marking. I was my health was getting absolutely destroyed. Like
Because
melted.
I actually don't have that many problems with my setup.
Yeah, do you use Wonder Marking in your setup? Because I think you do, right, for Birth.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you survive? Jeez, you know in the orb phase, one hit from it will kill me. Like even if I'm at full health, no matter what.
What's your what is it? What's your freaking words escape me? What's your defenses?
Or defensive. Yeah, I think my defense isn't that high because my
Yeah. What's your artifact
it's-
armor? I think that'd be like
yeah,
the
I
main
can't
suspect.
check right now. I can't log on and
Okay.
check.
Yeah.
I think my damage reduction last night, it might be around 35% damage reduction. My damage decrease from boss monster is higher than my damage reduction. I think, if I remember correctly.
Your damage decrease to boss should be capped. You can get it capped without adding any extra.
I don't think it's capped. No, I don't. No, it's probably
Yeah,
not capped.
Like yeah, I think you just gotta work on your defenses more.
Yeah, but right now at this moment, I'm just like kind of missing rage hearts because I definitely did not struggle with surviving and Spartan rage hearts.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah,
So,
you don't. I mean, I don't think you need to worry about it. But if you do focus on your stat building, you'll be fine. I don't think I've died in birth, and it's been my fault in like a month.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then again, at the same time, I'm like, because I think I've only done a total of like 2 or 3 birth rates on my Nova compared to my rage hearts, who did a lot more. Like, so I was a lot more comfortable on rage hearts, and then switching to Nova, I had to relearn how to play.
Yeah.
Birth rate with Nova. So I guess I'm still kind of in the process of learning what to do as Nova Imperator and birth rate. But I think next time I go into, I'm taking off Wonder Mark and
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like maybe that could help. I'm trying to think one of the things that I do. I mean, if you like good self-awareness is good too, because Birth actually has really good tells for most of his dangerous attacks. Like, I'm thinking about Birth right now, right? The only thing that would get me is like Spikes and Ice Beam, and both of those have a really good tell. Like the only times I've been caught by that is like if I did a Giga previously, and in that sense you could just be like, okay, I'm gonna wait until he does one attack and then I'll do a Giga, just because you know Giga can be very slow. So that just comes down to like judgment and things like that. And then like the second fight, like what really I mean, like Orb Phase sucks. Like,
wait, real quick though, just a quick question. What do you think about like Nova's placing in comparison to the other 2 Ravens? Where would you place him on like?
If they are all geared, Raid Charts is probably number 1, followed by FB, followed by Nova.
Yeah.
If they're not geared, Nova's number 1 by a long shot.
Okay.
Because the benefits that Nova provides is just too strong compared to, especially with the healer. With the healer nerf, it is so like that mana is even more important now.
Yeah. Sky, would you say you agree as well? Like that's what you think as well? Sky. Okay.
Can you, okay.
There you go.
Hello. Yes, we can hear you.
So I'm sorry, I like blanked.
No, I was just asking, like, do you think, what do you think of Nova's placement in regards to, like, compared to all the other 2 Ravens?
I've just been so out of the loop in birth rate in general that I don't think I can really give it.
Oh no, it's not just in regards to birth rate, it's just in general. Like, what do you think of Nova compared to the other 2 Ravens?
Oh, in general, then I have a different statement for that.
Oh, in general.
I thought you were just talking about birth rate.
Yeah, so I thought too. I don't know. I don't usually form that much of an opinion about these kinds of things. It's just they have their strengths and weaknesses, and I usually just leave it at that. Yeah.
Yeah, because like if it comes down to in general, I think Nova's the best in general, because
really, what
he provides it's better team support than all the other 3, and when I think it's between Nova and Rage Hearts, just because to make FB function, you just need way too much gearing. And Rage Hearts is really good, but he shines more on bosses that can't be debuffed. So, you know, if you're speaking in a general sense, Rosso has a lot of weight because it's very important, and Rosso is always debuffable. So Nova's gonna be better there, and there's big bosses there too that Nova can take advantage of.
But like when I speak in general, I also consider clearing. Rage Hearts' clearing is also the best.
Rage Hearts clearing is like, yeah, it's really good, but it did get nerfed, and Nova's did get better. Rage Hearts is still better, obviously, but I think when you take all these into account, because Rage Hearts support is support you can find on so many other classes. You can find elemental resist on a bunch of different classes. You can find defense decrease on a bunch of different classes. Weapon break is very unique, but it's only really good in birth, and you can use a dark orb. With Nova, MP healing, especially when healers are nerfed, so important. Damage increase from Ignition Crow 15% is a lot, and it's hybrid, so it works in any party. And then longer freezes thanks to Ifrit Flame. You know, you can find longer freezes in other characters, but MP gain is very sparse. And the Ignition Crow thing, that's a unique modifier, so that's just extra damage no matter what. And the fact that, again, you can put in any party at this point.
Yeah. I think one of my other two pet peeves in regards to Nova Imperator, or specifically in the context of birth rate, how'd you mention it in chat? Where in regards to the bands, you know how Nova Imperator has that lingering kind of thing when it comes to bands?
It doesn't affect the bands.
Really?
Yeah, both Ignition Crow and Rain of Fire, they don't persist. I've had yeah.
Like, did you find that out recently then? Because I remember in the past you were complaining about how Nova has that lingering and it triggers the ban.
No, I was always worried about it, but no, they don't ban it. They don't trigger it.
Yeah, I think the ban triggers based on like the skill animation.
Yeah, it's casting.
Yeah. So for example, I think for example, like if you just cast it, and then he casts it and it's still there and he bans it, then like it's fine.
Really? Because I feel like there's so many times where I feel like I was the reason for it, because I casted it. For example, I cast Rain of Fire before the Bravery ban, but then he still roars, and I don't know if it's my fault or if it's like someone else.
Unless you click the button while he is roaring, it'll not work. It will not.
I definitely did it before, like the.
It was probably someone else. It was probably someone else then.
Okay.
Because I've had the Rain of Fire bullets be in the sky and he doesn't ban. I mean, doesn't punish, rather.
Mm-hmm. There was another... What was the other pet... I forgot what the other pet peeve is, but maybe it's just like... I'm just like not really feeling Nova and Birth Rate. The other thing I wanted to mention was in regards to overheat and the mana provision kind of thing. For example, if you don't have good defense, you can't even do the basic needs of providing mana because you just can't overheat, because you'll just die if you overheat kind of thing. And I think it comes down to stat building. Like, I don't think it's that hard to build out max defense when it comes to Birth, because when it comes to max defense, I have maxed adaptation ERP, maxed out boss damage decrease, just only thanks to the sockets that I have. The only difficult thing I would say to get is probably a good artifact armor. Like, I'll admit that, like, you know, because toilet paper, no, it doesn't need toilet paper, it needs normal time and space scrolls. Time and space scrolls suck, so getting double damage reduction can be annoying. I have 19% on my armor, very annoying, but I think at the end of the day, if you need more defense, you can sacrifice, like, let me take this costume suit that just might not be the best and put a damage reduction socket on it if I don't have enough, you know? Yeah. But even then, because
I don't think it's that bad, because I don't die.
Like, because I'm considering in regards to like people who are just trying to, like, if they're a new Nova Imperator, they're trying to get into Birth Rate. I feel like building for it is a bit of a, like, for example, if you don't have plus 11 gear and stuff, etc., then if you build defense, then you're sacrificing a lot of CP for that defense. And like, what if, like, that kind of stuff? Like, what if you can't? I know you can just change it in dungeon.
Yeah,
kind of
you can. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, is that you can really just change it in dungeon. Like, you can use like a costume with combat power and then switch to an defensive armors.
But I feel like if you're a player that's that under-geared, you wouldn't actually have enough defense. I feel like.
No, you can definitely get enough. You can definitely get enough.
Yeah, I don't know, because even me, like, when I overheat, I die instantly.
I mean, you gotta just work on your defense. And I think that's one of the things in like it, like I literally made it a point. I made it a point to max out my adaptation, max out my boss damage decrease, and get as much damage reduction as I can on the little spaces that I could.
But that's what I find annoying. How, like, I have to build so much defense on Nova Imperator compared to when I was on Rage Hearts, where using the gear I have right now had no problems. I could survive so easily.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, like I definitely understand that. Like, you definitely need to put a little bit more effort in to make them work.
Because this is actually something I'm experiencing, where it's just like I've put in work on defense. I've got everything invested. I've got full max adaptation. I need to double check my damage decrease. You can check my stats up next time I log on or something. But I feel like my defense is like it's average, maybe a little bit subpar. It's average, but even then, it's just like I can't overheat. I can't overheat recklessly, or else I'm gonna die. And it's like I just feel like I can't provide the benefits as an Nova Imperator support.
I mean, I think it might come down to just like that might just come down to pattern recognition and just knowing when to overheat, because there's plenty of times where I just don't overheat, and you just got to be okay with that.
No,
like,
multiple laser phases. I can't overheat there, or else I'm gonna
Really?
die. I don't have enough pots to keep up with the health I lose.
Really?
Really? Oh, interesting.
That's
Why I
surprising.
wipe so much. Yeah.
Are people using a dark orb?
I'm not sure. How to,
Yeah,
I don't.
like if people use a dark orb, all you need, like all I do is proc stone apple, proc honey waffle, and I can live.
I had that procced and I still wiped. So I'm just like,
yeah,
and
I
I'm
think
like,
I guess someone must have not dark orbed. That's the only case. Yeah, because I've lived that plenty of times.
Yeah, same.
Mhm.
I think the only times I die in laser is if I take a double laser. If I take like
Yeah,
a
like
double
yeah,
laser, my
if
HP is at,
if you move in
30.
laser, you take like double hits or whatever. But
Yeah.
I doubt you're moving.
Yeah, I think all the times I died was because I moved and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
even then, if I move as rage hearts, I take double laser damage. I'm still fine. My pots don't go into emergency cooldown mode like my Nova does.
Yeah.
What you can
And
do...
I had seasonal buff as well, and everything was on cooldown, and I could not. My pots could not keep up with the lasers.
Yeah, well, because I'm confused because I don't even use potions in laser phase.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Well, okay, well, I do, but it's more like...
For meta, yeah.
Yeah, mostly for mana, but I think sometimes, like, when I feel scared, I'll, like... So what I'll do is I'll, like, time the skill so that...
Yeah, you get hit and
so-
then you overheat. Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah, all you can do is you, like... So, for example, you're... Cost the Giga. So then you press Giga, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your HP doesn't go down yet, and then you pot up to 100.
Mm-hmm.
And then you time it. So then you take the hit before the overheat kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
So say you go from like 140 from the laser, and then once at the 40, then the overheat kicks in, and you don't actually take any overheat damage. Like you can try and like time it that way, but like it's kind of hard.
Yeah. That one's that one's a little bit like challenging, but yeah, I've
Yeah.
definitely had runs where I just reckless overheat during lasers and I'm fine, just because someone dark.
Yeah, I can't. If I do that, I'm like.
I would
screwed.
say in
My-
that instance maybe check beforehand if someone is getting ready to, like if someone is dark orbing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or you can
Maybe
use it
maybe it might have been that one run where like there was no damage reduction, and I was just missing it all. And I was like,
I think damage reduction really helps.
Yeah, you need
also
damage
if you have MP
reduction.
healers. If you have
MP
MP
healers,
healers, like
yeah.
say if you have a good Celestia, then like you shouldn't. Then you can just use all your pots for HP. Like
But
you
this is the thing,
Yeah.
It brings back to the point where it's so annoying how like Nova Imperator needs this extra damage reduction from other parties in order to survive in Birth for me. Whereas when I was Rage Hearts, there was no damage reduction. I'm fine.
Yeah, because you were the dark orb. You were weapon breaking.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Nova Imperator doesn't have the weapon break that Rage Hearts does, so that's also a little bit annoying as well. Aspect of running Birth rate as Nova.
Well, I mean, yeah, well, advantage, disadvantage. You have
Yeah.
more survivability, but less party damage increase.
Yeah, but I was like, kind of enjoying
Yeah,
the Rage Heart.
Yeah, no, I mean that's what. Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not disagreeing with you. The fact that it's easier to play Rage Hearts there. I'm just saying that like it's not that
There are ways to
bad.
get around it.
Yeah, it's
Like, there are ways to get around it.
yeah. There are definitely ways to get around it, and I don't think the ways to get around it are that difficult.
I guess like at the same time, cause I'm
Like
still.
you definitely
kinda
need to put
new.
that like effort in though.
Yeah, I think at the same time, cause I am kind of new to Nova Imperator birth rate, and I still need to learn. But the
Mhm.
thing is, like, I did do a birth rate where I didn't actually die at all as Nova. But then, like, in different situations, like, and for example, in the last one, I actually my first time ever wiping in birth rate was on Nova Imperator. But when I was learning birth rate mechanics as Rage Hearts, I never wiped one time compared to like Nova. Like even though
Because you definitely need to put that little extra, because you can make more mistakes for sure on Rage Hearts, or you can, because you just need to be more on point when you're playing Nova. You just need to be more on point.
Because every single mistake that you make on Nova is way more punishing than Rage Heart. Like Rage Heart, like you take a hit at 100, yeah, okay, cool. But if you take a hit if you like make a mistake, you get hit the wrong time, you just die, and then just like
which is why I'm complaining about Nova, because I don't like how how you have to play so particular with him. And it's just
it's not that. That's what I'm saying though, is that it's not that particular. It's just like it just takes a little extra effort, like a little push more.
I thought you were saying it was kind of particular though.
No, not really. Like when I'm pretty casual with how I do birth. Like I'm like overheating a bunch. I'm like using fighters. Like I could be more, if I wanted to, I can be super more protective. Like zero polarize. Like, well, not obviously aside from Crimson set, but like zero, like cause I'm still wearing like Exodia and stuff like that. and Wonder Markin, of course. Like I could get rid of all that polarize and be a lot more safe, but I think it's just it's mostly just a muscle memory thing. It's mostly just a muscle memory thing. Like once you learn how to play Nova there, you're good. You're good.
I'm also just and I'm just saying like it's annoying that I have to sacrifice so much polarize in order to survive as Nova.
No, I was saying if I wanted to. I was just saying if I wanted to.
Yeah, but if I wanted to survive, I actually do need to get rid of like.
No, I don't think you do because I think I have more than you.
No, because if I don't, I'm gonna wipe like what I did last time. Because I had Wonder Markin last time. I had so much polarize. If I don't sacrifice that polarize, I'm just gonna my health is just gonna chunk like what happened last time.
No, because I think someone wasn't using a Dark Orb.
Okay. I'll have to try out more. I'll have to try out more birth runs with Nova because for sure I think I'm not too familiar with doing 15.
Yeah, it's just a muscle memory thing. Once you get used to it, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, 100%. I think
muscle memory against chunking your health getting chunked by lasers though.
You won't get chunked. I'm telling you, it really won't.
Yeah, okay, I'll see. I'll check it out next time. Next time I run birth rate, I'll be more
I might have to look at your stats or something. Either your damage reduction is extremely low, or I think it was just someone wasn't using a Dark Orb, so you were taking full damage.
Am I online right now? I think you can check. I think I should be. My character should be AFK on my computer right now. You probably could check.
Are you using your birth rate stuff?
Oh wait, no, I'm not.
Yeah, I mean I could look at your damage reduction.
I think what would really help is actually like maybe if especially if you're not able to think critically on the spot. I think like in the midst of the run, I think it would be really good to record your run, look at all, look at everything, and then be able to and then from that be able to pinpoint where exactly going to take up. Because I know even when I was running Burst Raid with Elionode gear and I'm getting one shot by mines. It's like I could see from the run that every single death that I made was a pilot error. There was no death that I could see where I was like I couldn't avoid this. I think probably because I have such a strong mindset that pilot skill is I strongly believe that pilot skill has an extremely large influence on this, and I think pilot skill can overcome so many, like a lot of problems. But that's just me. Like maybe it's because I'm overly critical of myself, and I just think, okay, I just need to get good. Okay, I just need to get good. Okay, I just need to get good. Instead of like.
I agree, but that's just not like because I agree that pilot skill does matter, and I think I have that birth run recorded as well, right? But it's still not going to change the fact that I don't like that I have to do all of this for Nova Imperator. It's just not my type of. I guess it's like I wouldn't say it's not my type of game style. It's just my pet peeves, and I don't like it. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
that's fine. Yeah. No, I was just saying in general, like. It's definitely not I'm just saying like it's not that difficult. It's just a different experience. I guess that's the main point I'm trying to make is that it's just a different experience.
Yeah, I know it's a different experience. That's why I said I'm like trying to relearn how to play Birth on Nova Imperator kind of thing. But even then, I'm still gonna complain that it's so annoying Birth raiding on Nova Imperator compared to when I raid on Rage Hearts.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting point because I actually like the fact that I have to put in more effort to survive.
I'm up and down about it. I prefer being able to have more damage impact. That's why I like the Ifrit Flame. I like the Ignition Cone. I like the mana. That's more damage impact. Better Rage Hearts.
I think that's what actually you said. Birth rate inherently favors some classes over others. I think that's mainly like another. Yeah, that's why. That's like another reason why I don't like this. Like that's another reason why my pet peeve and annoyance is stemming from. Like this bias against certain classes in birth rate. I don't like that, and that's pretty much another aspect that's annoying me about it.
And that's mostly from like defense ignore and things like that. Defense ignore is king right now, and like just some classes just kind of don't have it.
Which is just sad,
Just how we have to play so differently.
It might be better once Birthright gets nerfed, because they're gonna give a groggy phase to the final fight, which is notoriously always an hyper armor. So having that is gonna equalize a lot because what is it? The first two phases actually got equalized pretty nicely by having those groggy phases where they're knocked down. Because if a boss is debuffable, a class that does defense ignore will do less damage, right? Because
compared to everyone else.
Yeah, okay. Comparatively, comparatively when they were ignoring its defense. So those groggy phases existing kind of like equalize the scale a little bit. Hopefully, I mean, and wait, no, the final phase does have what is it? Ungroggy moment. I mean, unhyper armor moments when it's lasering. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like with a Nova and birth rate. Ugh.
I don't know. I think it'll be a lot better once we get the birth nerfs. Definitely.
Has Kara like, because you know how part of the reason why Nova got the changes is because no Novas were being brought into birth rate because he's shit in birth. No, I'm joking. He kind of is though. He kind of is bad.
Crow's getting in that mood again.
Has like, I'm wondering if they're making the changes again is because the super armor just wasn't working and people weren't bringing.
Yeah, because it was jank as heck. They had to rework. They would have had to rework the skill if they wanted to make the super armor work.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, does this new buff work on birth? Like,
all the time? Oh, I felt it. It was like, if you weren't watching it, but we absolutely shredded. Specifically, like the Havian fight, we demolished that fight. Like it was insane. Like how fast that fight got shredded. I definitely feel the increased damage from Ignition Crow. Because my theory, at least now, is that because it seems like its own unique modifier of saying, what is it? Enemies within the fire will have increased damage. I feel like maybe it's getting put on top of the equation. I'm not sure, but I could definitely feel it.
So I think like overall the buff is just like for support Novas, it's definitely a nice change. But
for DPS Novas, it's insane too because you're increasing your own DPS. Oh
okay,
yeah.
But I guess my main issue with DPS Nova is like you still kind of want to bring that PO, and it's kind of annoying to think that you have to bring two other characters in order to enable your DPS.
Well, here's the thing, right? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it's the reality for not just Nova, but I think for a lot of other classes too who don't have much damage.
Like,
what about
like? Oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah, what is it? What Soju said in chat as well. We barely had any buffers in that party, and we shredded that thing. Cause I think it was it a hybrid party? I can't remember, at the moment. But yeah, we didn't have that many buffers, and we still absolutely shredded it. It was all Magma.
If you look at classes, I think if you look at classes who are basically like classes who have a reliance on like buffers, like. So you look at either classes that have like really abysmal damage, or you look at classes that have like really extremely high MP gain, like extreme MP problems, like Furious Blade, Liberator. Like if you don't have MP healers, like good luck.
Yeah.
You're basically just can't deal damage. So, which is funny because Liberator is considered to be one of the top DPS, but at the same time, like he needs MP healers to.
He needs it to function well. But yeah, that too. Yeah, we had a Raytress in the party, and I was either equal on damage with him or I out damaged him, in certain fights.
Was it in the VoS run? Or...
Yeah.
That one you did less damage than the Raytress.
Okay, it must have been the but I was somewhat equal damage with him though, even without what is it? Because he has defense ignore punches, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, so even without that, like, I was still keeping up.
You bring up another good point about MP, because if you have MP healers, that gives you freedom to use your pots for HP. Like I think I had a run once where so granted I was getting carried, but I was like trying to like do my best. So as in like I had I like HP adapt synergy with like res title and like I guess even though I had all of these like safety nets, like I still tried my best to play as if I was a damage dealer without. And then once I started dying, then I'm like, okay, maybe we're gonna play more defensively now. But I guess the point is that like I couldn't. That like the fact that I didn't need to pot for MP at all, like helped me to survive so much. It was not even funny. So I think, yeah, MP healers. So I guess like in a sense, MP healers help everyone. I think especially
again that's like after the support nerf. It's so big.
It's like,
Yeah.
unless you're in my case, where if you're not potting to MP, you're potting to stay alive because your health keeps getting chunked.
Yeah.
The other annoying thing is, birth rate, how like there's such a big focus on ignore defense, but not every single class has ignore defense skills. And I'm like, why is that? Like, why?
I mean,
that
I guess the fact that debuffing, I guess the fact that debuff windows exist is like
Yeah, debuff windows.
kind of
Like I would say at the
like,
beginning.
mitigates the problem.
Yeah.
But it's,
At the
like,
beginning,
it's
it was
not
a
complete
real
fix, for sure.
issue, but now it's not that bad.
Yeah, like it's not a complete fix, that's for sure. But it
Oh
definitely
yeah,
helps.
it's definitely not complete fix. Yeah, I'm doing good.
yeah,
now.
but because even use like because it's another reason that Rage House would have an edge over Nova Imperator in birth rate is because he has so much.
Oh yeah. Hold on. I never got to my original point of like you were talking about like it's unfair that you need a defense ignore character or whatever. But here's the thing: once you get that, your damage reaches higher peaks than the people who had defense ignore all the time. Because again, once they get into these debuffable stages, so let's take Rage Hearts and Nova for example. Once the boss becomes debuffable, Nova is doing a lot more damage than Rage Hearts. Because that defense ignore doesn't matter when the defense is getting decreased. If that makes sense.
I think it's also
Wouldn't it also depend on boss's size as well? Wouldn't size and also matter? Because I feel like, for example, in 12-7...
Oh no, this is let's I guess for the sake of this point, I guess for the sake of this argument, let's like completely disregard everything else except for raw damage.
Let's just focus on defense ignore.
Except the defense ignore, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, essentially, if they're in this debuffable phase, somebody that does not have defense ignore and debuffers are decreasing their defense will do more damage no matter what than somebody that has defense ignore, because you're not getting the complete benefit of defense ignore. That's why debuff phases are so
I get
important.
what you mean, but like the boss, like in the context of 15-6, for example, like wouldn't because the final fight, the boss he's kind of small. Is Nova able to do all his hits on a like? Is he a big boss or a small boss for Nova?
He's a small boss, but again, it's still fine. But
You
that's
can
just
play around it.
Yeah.
For example, like I'm thinking like in the context of 12-7 because I've done more of that comparison between Rage Hearts and Nova. My Rage Hearts for sure does way more damage than my Nova Imperator in the context of 12-7 because that boss is so small. Even if I weren't to consider the ignore defense, Rage Hearts just outplays my Nova because my Nova can't get all his like hits in on a small boss.
I also think another thing to consider is that Rage Hearts deals damage a lot faster. Like, for example, let's say I give you 5 seconds to deal as much damage as you possibly can. Rage Hearts will probably dish out more. Just simply because, like, he can go through his entire skill bar in that amount of time.
Yeah.
Whereas Nova, you can't.
Maybe on specifically that fight, but remember one thing is that there are 2 big bosses in that stage, and both of them have, like, that's the 2 other halves of the fight. So I think, maybe isolated that one fight, sure, but the other 2 fights are big bosses where he can get maximum hits. So
So you do fine in the first 2, but like you'll suffer a bit in the third one, but like
a bit. But I think the first 2 do
one.
make up for that, because that's the thing. Like Nova's not bad against small bosses. He's good against big bosses.
Bad.
Yeah.
But
So I
it's
definitely
just
think the 2 big bosses earlier definitely make up for that fact.
But I still think overall, it's just like compared to, I don't know, like even to, I don't know, Furious Blade. What about comparing Nova Imperator and Furious Blade? Would you think Furious Blade would be performed better in Birth Rate or Nova?
That one's tough because it just depends on how hard he's funded.
it also depends on the boss as well.
Yeah, because even you said earlier on Meteor where like if you were to rank like geared through all 3 Raven paths, if you could rank them, Rage Hearts would be best, second would be Furious Blade, Nova would be last.
Yeah, I say that, but now that I'm thinking about it more, like, I just said that on, Instinct? But when I actually think about it, FB still has the jank that he's always had, because even with this new counter wave change, making sure your 3rd skill is your DPS skill is easier said than done. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can't make that happen. Sometimes Hypersonic Stab just doesn't want to be your friend. And
So would you say you'd rearrange if you like if I asked the question again, where if you were to rank
yeah,
all three,
yeah,
like,
because I think maybe let's say everything goes right, I think FB wins. I think on average Nova wins, if that makes sense.
okay, interesting.
I think Nova is this. Wait, never mind. I take that back. Don't worry about it.
I think if FB has a perfect run where everything goes right and he nails everything perfectly, he's definitely better. And even then, he might be better than Rage Hearts. Everything goes perfectly. But I think on average, Nova is just.
He just needs so much. He just needs so much support to do his thing,
Yeah.
and you need to like be careful. And also, there's just so many things outside of your control as well, like
Mhm.
Aegis being jank.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
like that's the thing with the Nova that's actually a good thing is that Nova just needs defense ignore and he's good. Not Ray Charts. FB needs a good MP healer. A good MP healer. He needs defense ignore, even though he has it. It's only a little bit that he needs. He actually does need defense ignore just in general. And I think that's mostly it. I mean, the
But
MP thing
at
is
that
huge though.
point, you're not ranking characters based on like you're ranking characters based on how hard they are to pilot. Then in
No. Because I'm saying you need these things in order to be able to, I guess, use them.
To do anything, yeah.
Because again, I assume the question was like playing them well, right? Like we're not playing them with a bad party, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, you're not assuming optimal like conditions and
Yeah, because like
yeah.
optimal conditions, Nova just needs that something that can decrease defense. While
Okay, then what if optimal conditions were not that like easy to get? Like it's so like what if optimal condition would be kind of like running Indom Nova Imperator with the best party every single time? Like that would be what you're referring to as optimal conditions, where like every single party run you've got the best party composition kind of thing.
Wait.
Then what if it's, like-
Where did Indom come from? I'm confused.
No. I'm just using an example. So, like, if you're
okay.
talking about optimal conditions all the time, then what about in a context that you don't always have the optimal conditions? Well, how would you rate?
Yeah, that's why I said the
that's
average.
impossible that's why, but then even then, average is very hard to account for because say for example, because then you have to because there's so many different situations that can happen in average. Like say for example, you have FE. You could have the most insane like physical buffing party, but you might not have a single MP healer, and then you suffer as a result.
Right.
Even though you have so much damage out, because you just run out of cards.
Yeah, that's why I said the average because FB when it comes to comparing FB to NI, FB just has all these holes in his kit and again things that he needs that more mistakes can happen compared to a Nova, which is just you just have someone decrease the defense and then you
you
Decrease defense and give damage reduction?
No, you don't. Well, aside from laser phase, I don't think you need damage reduction from party.
Okay.
You can stone apple because you can stone
Isn't
apple.
laser phase like a big component of where you want to be doing DPS? So like, wouldn't it be bad to leave out damage reduction for that for laser phase? When you
you can take a Dark Orb as Nova.
Yeah, I think another thing to take into account is like you can provide your own damage reduction as well. You don't have to get it all from the party. I mean, yes, you have to sacrifice pot spaces.
He doesn't need pots, really.
Like not much, or like not.
He doesn't
enough
need as much. He can give up a slot essentially. He can give up a slot or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then earlier on, Sky did state that the essential parties like classes that Nova should bring for raid is PO and like a damage reduction like Comet Crusader or something. So would that mean Sky you'd be going back on what you said back there and saying that he doesn't need an essential damage reduction class in his party?
He was
I want to say yes. I want to say yes, and I think, but at the same time, I also acknowledge that it's highly dependent on the gear you have. Like, say for example, like if I was running burst with my own node set where I had like 8% damage reduction, no ring or armor, I essentially had like 20% adapt, 8% damage. I would need damage reduction to survive because optimal play in birth usually means that there are certain patterns that you tank and that most people can comfortably tank.
Then are you saying Nova Imperator needs a damage reduction in party, or does he not need? Like
what's the gear standard? I think it's basically.
Oh.
What's the gear standard?
Yeah, does he have his?
Because the thing is, like if you have max, because the thing is like if you gear optimally, like you have maxed that out, you have like more than 20 red damage, that kind of thing. Like it's kind of like it's kind of okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely livable. Like I think for this, like it's really hard for me to judge because all my parties have been really smooth. I have never been the primary damage dealer. So I think the most important part about my experiences is that I have never been a damage dealer. I've just been the buff shuttle. So because of that, I can afford to like I don't have to I can just play to survive. Like I can like run around, not use skills at all, and just focus on staying alive. And as long as I provide MP to the party, that's all I need to do. But it's a completely different story if you're DPS, and I haven't experienced that firsthand, frankly. So I think because of that, a lot of my words should be taken with a grain of salt.
One other thing like I wanted to bring up was back in the days when Meteor first did Birthright, I remember him complaining about not having a damage reduction unit in Birthright back then.
Because I thought I needed one. I just wasn't experienced enough. And I'll admit that.
I think experience actually helps a lot. It's a bit like how during the early days of Rosso, like people thought back in people thought super armor was absolutely mandatory, but nowadays we've improved. Like even though even after the mechanics were changed, so people still thought super armor was pretty much mandatory to get by. But I think nowadays. Birthright, Rosso has been out for years now. People have improved as players, especially with Birth being a thing now. And the runs are now just so fast that it's just you don't need it. People have just realized that you don't need it. Or how do I say this? You've never ideally if you play because so many things in Rosso are iframeable. You've never needed. You've never strictly needed super armor. It's not like it's impossible to pass without it. But it's more like. But only back in the day, because people were not as experienced, people were making mistakes, and then therefore they needed that safety net. Whereas nowadays, because everyone is so much more experienced, people don't need that safety net anymore. And then people are going, and then that's when people say, okay, well you don't actually need super armor because we just got good. And I think the same can be said for Burst.
And that's something I noticed too, is that the only times that people will struggle and they say they need a super armor is when they are new, which I think it's fine. If you're new and you just don't understand things, you're being tossed around. But what is it?
100%,
yeah. But what is it? If you make sure you got an MP healer on the team and you make sure that your pots on you are semi decent, you'll be fine.
Yeah, it's like learning. It's like what's the term? Like safety ropes. I don't know.
Yeah, safety. So just that safety net. Yeah.
Because then once you got more experience, then you can go without the safety net.
Because I'll say one thing too. Excuse me. I'll say one thing too with Birth. With my own experience is that I used a much more tankier build when I was first doing Birth raids, but as I got that experience and I learned how the fight worked more, I've switched accessories to include polarize more often. Like before I was using 7W, now I'm using Wonder Markin. Before I was using the Grotto accessory instead of Exodia, now I'm using Exodia. Etc. etc. I'll switch to Wander Markin accessory set in the third fight of Havian. The third fight of the first raid. I think a big chunk of it is just experience and knowing what to do, and definitely early on. I think you definitely need. Go ahead.
Also, I was gonna say definitely to an extent because I think, like I said before, there are usually when you build optimally for Burst raid, it allows you to tank. Because you know how, say for example, people don't really complain about getting one shot by the when in 15.5 phase 3 when he fans the lasers outwards, people don't really complain about. People don't complain about.
That's true. People used to complain about
one-shotting people.
Yeah, getting one shot.
Yeah, but the thing is if you build suboptimally, very suboptimally, so you're in a gear 20 adapt, 8% damage reduction, etc. You only have trouble with that if you don't gear optimally. But once you gear optimally, it's people just this tanker, it's like the attack doesn't exist. So
okay. No. I feel like we've already talked a lot about. So but I actually there was two more topics of interest in regards to Nova Imperator and Birthright I want to talk about. But I was just wondering, do we have time for that?
When did we?
Thanks for the time check, by the way.
I can't remember when we started.
We started about 20 minutes, half an hour late.
Yeah, because you said your laptop died.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's up to you. I mean, do you think the topic would go on for long? Do you think if you think it would go on for like just kind of 10 minutes or so, I think that's fine.
It might go. I mean, okay. So one of the questions are short, but the other question might be a bit longer one.
Yeah, that's the shorter one, I guess.
Okay, so the shorter one, I think I can make this on the last one. The short question was like, disregarding unrelated to what the previous question was. Like, next question was in regards to like DPS comparison between the three Novas. Do you think there's a huge power spike? Like there's a huge gap in level power between the three Raven classes?
In context of birth.
Yeah. Yes, in birth.
I don't feel comfortable answering this question because I'm just so out of the loop.
It's hard to say for me because I've never been the DPS have never not DPS. The supports have never been catered to me, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've never
gone like, okay guys, solid DPS party.
Yeah, I've never been in a birth raid where the party was catered to what I need, if that makes sense.
Okay. If you guys want, or if you wanted to make like assumption or summation or like assuming
the best thing I can do is look at Chili and Invocations runs, and they do really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They don't deal like K tier damage, but you know.
They're not hitting like
enough to solid DPS.
Yeah, they're solid for sure. That's the only thing I can go off of. Is they're doing really well.
It'd probably be you'd have to compare like Chili and I think Zon's damage, I guess, because I don't know any other rage hearts. Do we know any Furious Blade who like does huge damage?
His name escapes me. I used to talk to him a lot.
It's like what's his name again?
Yeah. He what is his name again? Necro. Yeah, Necro would be the one I would say there. I think they're all plus 12. They're all decently high reforged. I think that would be a good test if you can find video of that.
Yeah,
I know for a fact Invocations and Chili's make good and Chili makes good parties. They both make very good parties.
Zon just sends so much DPS pictures, and I've just seen that. But it would be interesting if I could just like compare the three Ravens and just see how they perform in Birth Raid.
Yeah, that'd be
just
really
like
fun.
a data analysis.
Sam as well. Sam is a really good raid charts.
Who?
Samuel. I forget what his name is in game. I don't have his Discord.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
Yeah.
Let me try and do some digging.
I think it was. I forgot.
I feel like I recognize it. But...
Yeah. I remember because one of my friends is coupled with his Raven, but I forgot his name.
Yeah, I forget his name too, but he's very good. He's very good.
Oh, Minor Crisis!
There you go. Yeah, Minor Crisis.
Oh, Minor Crisis. There we go.
Yeah, he's very, very good.
Yeah. I don't know about Ghoul. Ghoul PvPs a lot, but I don't know about PvE. I don't think Ghoul. No, Ghoul is more PvP focused than PvE. Yeah. Okay, it'd be interesting. I feel like. Dang, if I was ever bothered and if I could actually do like an assignment just comparing for my stats to data analysis, just compare data, that'd be like an interesting research.
What is it? Another important thing to note is like the it's about to get really crazy in a month when we get those nerfs as well. Like what is good now or like what is OP now could get like topped and turned over when we get these new nerfs.
There's actually another. Okay, that's actually a discussion I had with a friend a few years ago where he was talking about he doesn't like the aspect that also the meta is constantly changing and so fast as well. Because for example, let's just say in the context of guides, for example, by the time media releases a guide about something, that guide gets old within like 2 weeks or something, for example, because the updates and changes in LSOD happen so fast and so often. And I was like, what do you guys think of that? Because the friend I was talking to, he really hates that aspect. I was wondering if you guys like it, that the game is constantly changing, not like it.
I think it just depends on the period of time for me.
For me, I think it depends not really on how often it changes, but how much it's changing with each change. Because, for example, in this case, like Nova got 15% damage increase on Injection Code Napalm, and that was it, right? In that case, and then strictly saying, then a guide written say 2 months ago would be outdated because because those numbers have been changed. But this change also doesn't change his playstyle very much.
Yeah.
Or if you just got to make sure that you keep the debuff on and keep the skill up, and that's it. Whereas, and then
wait, real quick. Are we talking about like gear or like character balances?
The character balances.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about gear. My bad. Okay.
Continue.
Yeah, how like these balance patches change so much that classes can, in one balance patch, a class that used to be top DPS could be pushed down to just like bad tier or something like that, just based on one patch. Yeah.
Oh wait, sorry, my bad. For some reason, I thought you were like talking. For some reason, I thought you were like referring to like playstyles. So say for example, like a character's playstyle can change.
Oh yeah.
Which is sorry, my bad. The fact that the meta changes so much is. I don't know. I honestly don't know how I feel about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think what is it? I don't think the changes have ever been so I think the only like super negative one has been the support changes, like that people have people have responded very negatively towards. I think the other ones were just like or whenever we get a balance patch, it's always just like, whoa, that's a great buff, like that's crazy. Oh man, I can't wait to see my character buff. And it's like, oh, that got nerfed, that sucks. Or like, why they nerf it, or like, oh man, of course they nerfed that, kind of thing like that. I think the important thing is like the degrees of change. I think when things spike up, like let's randomly give Dying Galleon defense ignore. I think people are very positive about that. I think when things randomly, immediately spike down, like the support nerf, people hate that, obviously. I think the spike down doesn't happen as often, that I'm not bothered by it, and like whenever the spike up happens, people who made that class are happy, so I think it's fine.
Sorry tangent about the gameplay, but so in that room where like you master skill the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, okay, so for the second mob, if you stand on the other side of it, you can just crow it.
Oh really?
I noticed that you were trying to hit it. I noticed that you were trying to Harpoon Spirit and
Oh, because I crowed the right side.
Oh no! Wait, I swear it was off cooldown anyway. Don't worry about it. Sorry.
Oh, it might have been.
Q says with regards to character changes, it's kind of just something players have to get used to. These are substantial changes, and players have been asking for larger changes besides just stat changes.
Yeah. That's the. I think players want more bigger changes.
So would that mean like things like how, for example, Rage Hearts went from being a great class to the worst class, and then now he's the greatest class again. So would you say you would prefer changes like these where they drastically change the meta, like that kind of thing?
I mean, for that one, it's hard to say because those things didn't happen overnight. What the heck? Those things didn't happen overnight. Like the only thing that really happened overnight was getting defense ignore on the punch. Like the whole Rage Hearts being strong to him being very weak. I think that was kind of more of an overtime type of thing, if I recall correctly.
The ignore defense implementation, that was an overnight thing. I think. Would you say?
Yeah, that's my thing of just like the spike ups. I think people are positive about it because the people who play that class get buffed, and I don't think other people really care that much when someone gets a good buff like that.
The one spike down I do remember was removing the HP burn on mod nuclear. Well, obviously that because of that.
Well, because it broke the game. Yeah, it broke the game. Yeah. So I think that one was fine because that broke the game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So pretty much the person I was talking to, they were saying that their biggest complaint is that they hate that how every balance patch just feels like it changes the meta of the game so drastically, and they were saying and I think like that was the main complaint, where they don't like that the meta gets changed so often, so frequently, like that.
I think in order to answer this question, you have to think about what kind of impact. Like why they would hate it. What is the objective impacts of this? And I think. God damn it! I forgot. I was gonna say.
I think their issue was pretty much by the time you've leaned towards one meta, they suddenly change it, and you have to change your build again and lean towards a different kind of meta kind of thing.
I don't think that happens too often though. I don't think that happens that often.
Yeah.
Like it definitely happens sometimes, but not that often.
No, I think in the case of like, for example, That's
No,
why I use
I think
the guide.
changing the build of a class and changing the power level. How do I say it? Because this whole time I was under the assumption that you were talking about power level. Like say for example, in one patch, Shakti was weak. Shakti is like one of the strongest DPS, strongest physical DPS, and then the next patch, she's just suddenly like
Yeah.
not great.
Yeah.
And then they have to, because like in some cases you're referring to how like they have to like change the way they build in order to compensate for buff nerfs.
Yeah.
Does that happen very often?
I don't think so. Like you need to be hit with massive nerfs for that to happen.
Again, the only thing I can think of is the support nerf where they have to build combat power now.
And everyone just
Like that's definitely a big thing that changes your gear, but
the other change was like, for example, strength and bravery meta and stuff. Nova went from being strength to bravery as well.
That's right, yeah.
And
I think the change was because that change came about due to the introduction of all skill damage.
Yeah, all skill damage and like focus on bossing instead of clearing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think from that you also have to think about like, is this change positive or negative? Mm-hmm. And I think in the or like specifically from the stacking to ASD move, I think for the overall health of the game it was good because it encouraged more diverse playstyles and builds.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in stacking, it's like you have to bring these exact skills, and like that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and when it came to that 200 focus versus 300 focused, it wasn't just Nova that did that. I think it was a lot of classes that just because the game itself went from a clearing meta to a bossing meta.
But I think the question Crow's asking is like the fact that these, like, regardless of what the change actually is, like, do you like the fact that, like, what do you think about the fact that it changes so often?
I mean, I don't think it changes so intensely that I need to change my build a lot. But I guess whenever that happens, it's more like, okay, this is what I need to do instead of a whole, I can't believe this happened. That's just my approach.
Yeah, same.
I guess it's like, to better phrase the question, it'd be a question of, would you rather they made patch balances where it's more like, fighter games, how they only make like slight hitbox, small changes, very tiny changes, or do you prefer the kind of changes they do here where they completely change effects of different skills?
I would rather effects, just like the
effects.
And it seems like the KR community wants that too, because they made a complaint about that in the conference.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, okay, so the person I was talking to this about, they originated from fighter games, and that's why they don't really, I think that's part of the reason why they don't like how in an MMO like also, wait, but even that, but what?
I think that comes back to maybe like a different thing, like Elsword's gameplay is very kind of similar to be a fighting game sometimes, that people tend to overlap them sometimes. That happened a lot in the past.
Because if you compare Elsword and Genshin patches, the kind of changes they make, it's not like as drastic as Elsword, even though both games are MMORPGs. Like the changes in Genshin are like very minuscule, where it's like,
I don't think Genshin's MMO. Genshin's more like a single player gacha.
Yeah, and what is it with Genshin as well? There's really not much difficult content, and there's no reason to build towards difficult content.
Yeah, and I think also because Genshin is a gacha game, like the fact that it's a gacha game means that they cannot, because notice how there's barely anything that has been changed over the course of Genshin. Like maybe the only thing is probably the zombie boss.
Yeah,
but that's it. Like
the only thing.
Like the fact that you change something in a gacha game is absolutely huge, and not like Genshin's probably one of the only gacha games that does this.
Yeah.
So like for example, if you look at Faygo, like they never change the effects of existing servants. They only add new servants. So say for example, if they implement servant, people think they're crap, or like they have like crap design. They don't go, oh okay, we'll change the servant. They go, okay, we'll take this into account and we'll produce something better next time. So because they haven't connect data. Does Elsword not for beta? I can't remember.
No. Server.
The Chaos server is the beta server.
Yeah. Unfortunately. Also when it comes to Genshin, like, to get the best reward in Genshin, it's very easy. Everybody can do it. To get the best reward in Elsword, you need to put effort in, and it's actually
much more. Yeah.
Like the best rewards, the best rewards are literally usually just clear this or do the first thing of a quest line of 5 things, and like the best item is usually like here's some couple EXP scrolls, which I think is fine. I think that actually works quite well for the game Genshin's trying to be, because I think Genshin is trying to be like I think Genshin's trying to be a more casual game with like, if you want to take your power beyond, here's some rewards for you or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
don't
because
want it, that's fine.
Genshin
It's a fun
is
game at
also
the end of the day.
with Genshin you're building multiple units. With Elsa you only have that one character you're building, and if that character receives some like game-changing change, then I think the unity would
start.
Yeah. And there's also an argument to be made of like Genshin's still in its early years. Like Genshin has yet to really experience the classic gacha power creep. Will it happen? I don't know. We'll see. When it does, who knows what's gonna happen, because that's a classic thing in gacha games. I hope it doesn't happen because I kind of like the way Genshin is, but
miHoYo stated that they don't want power creep to occur like what it did in Honkai Impact.
The Honkai,
Yeah, they are really trying hard to avoid that power creep because, like for example, right now Ganyu is still the strongest unit, and she's pretty old for a unit. Like most of the new units have not surpassed Ganyu's power creep.
Yeah.
Obviously compared to Honkai Impact, where after Herschel Void, everything's just been power spiking since then.
Yeah. So when it comes to Genshin, we'll see.
Yeah. But I think that's pretty much all. I think that's pretty much all the topic I wanted. Like all the like burning questions I had so far. I was just like, if there's anything else you guys want to talk about or mention, or
time, so
I think we're pretty much out of time.
I think we're good.
I pretty much asked all my questions, the burning questions I had so far. So that's pretty much it for me. Unless okay.
You want to do the outro, Sky? You already did the intro.
Okay, so I guess I think we got more people again today.
Well, I was doing a pre-stream.
Oh, that's true. Yes, people stuck around and listened. I guess for everyone who stuck around, and I guess for everyone who also joined, I think. So I guess today there was a schedule change. We made it an hour later. So I imagine especially for people in Eastern Time Zone, I think it's 11. Is it like 12 a.m. there right now?
Yeah, 12:45.
Yeah.
More or less.
Oh wow, so it's actually quite late. So yeah, for everyone who stayed up, thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming in. Thank you for accommodating this time change. I know that you guys probably didn't have much notice, so I guess thank you for accommodating for that. But yeah, so basically what happened was on my end, something came up. I am not flexible with that.
It's alright. I think next week we'll go back to our normal time and stuff.
Yeah, and next week might be an open podcast again.
Oh no, actually the schedule change of mine is actually like kind of permanent.
Okay.
So like
I don't mind. So
podcast will be an hour later.
Yeah, I don't mind.
So yeah, I guess I apologize for the inconvenience and thank you very much for sticking with us. And then I guess as usual for everyone who listened, thank you very much for coming and listening to us. And I guess for everyone who's watching the YouTube, thank you for listening, even if you can't make it. But if you can make it, we'd love to have you here. And as usual, have a nice day or have a good night. And
yes.
Bye.
I have a phone call.
Join Discord.